Hokage give me a face, Chapter 141-160. Chapter 141 Eats spicy food. Food and grass occupy an extremely important position in any war in any world. If you are full, you will have the strength to fight, but if you can't even eat enough, who will fight for you? There were more than 10 elite raiding teams in Kumogakure village attacking Konoha logistics in the hinterland of Fire Nation, and the Toronto team that Yizan killed was just one of them. However, because Yizan escorted supplies such as grain and grass-detonating talismans to arrive, they can hold on in a short time, and Danzo's task for Yizan is not to continue to escort the supplies, but to attack the supplies. The other side attacked us, and we also attacked each other. The Kumogakure village is not as rich as the Konoha, their supplies are more important, plus the Kumogakure village is only fighting in one line, they have more ninjas and energy to deploy defense. The material point of Kumogakure village is set up inside the border of the Country of Thunder, separated by the Country of Soup and the Country of Sound. The current situation of these two small countries is not bad. Because they are neutral countries, Kumogakure village has not been in chaos, but they have sent a lot of ninjas to stay in the two small countries, which can also be regarded as a defense against Konoha. Of course, the fate of a small country can never be controlled by itself. Konoha is under attack at the moment, and he has no strength to fight back. If a full counterattack, Kumogakure will definitely withdraw the front, but he is unwilling to withdraw to the territory of the Country of Thunder to fight. By then, these small countries will become victims of war between the two countries. I'm still saying that, follow me, eat spicy, drink spicy, right? In the remote rocky field of Tangjiguo, Yizan led the 4 elite Jonin forward quickly, rushing the road for 2 days, and everyone found a big rock to rest under the wind. After Yizan ate a fragrant wautu, he took out the water bag in his luggage and took a sip, then threw it to a ninja beside him. Thank you, Captain. The dry-mouthed Anbu thanked him, picked up the water bag and poured it down his throat. In the next second, his face changed greatly, and the whole face turned yui. Don't vomit. It's said that the delicious and spicy ones are spicy, but if you vomit, you will fail me. Yizan looked at the other party cutely. This Anbu endured for a long time, and finally couldn't take it anymore, and spit out the sound of, wow. Captain, you actually put chili water in the water bag. That's right, didn't you say that the fragrant drink is spicy? Look, fragrant wowotu, spicy chili water, I'm right tilde. Yizan took a water bag and took a sip, as if he had to drink up the soup after eating a bowl of spicy noodles. Whether Yizan did it sincerely or deliberately, the group of Anbu said they didn't know, and they swore in their hearts that next time, they would definitely not do the task with this little bastard, this would simply kill them. Under Yizan's half-threatening gaze, the 4 elite Jonin grimaced and took a sip one by one. Konoha's food has always been relatively bland. It was the first time they tried to drink pure chili water. Crossflow. Hey, I said you guys, I really don't understand the charm of chili peppers. Yizan shook his head helplessly, grabbed the water bag and put it away, then he looked at the 4 of them with a serious face, and said in a very serious tone, you guys, this kind of performance makes me very sad. Next time I want to drink, I won't give it to you. No, we will never drink your chili water again. The 4 of them spoke in unison, which immediately made Yizan pouted. He turned over the Byakugan and decided to enjoy the precious chili water by himself. Generally speaking, new things are difficult to accept, but once they are accepted, they may become popular in everything. He really does not believe that none of these 4 guys will accept the Amway of chili water. Chili water stimulates the brain and taste buds. Although the 4 of them decided not to drink it, the tiredness of the 2-day journey was also stinged away by the chili water. After a while, the 4 of them went on their way again. As the elite of Konoha Anbu, Kumogakure village's secret post in the land of soup could not work for them at all. Several people easily avoided the dark post, crossed the land of soup and the land of sound, and finally entered the land of thunder. The land of thunder is mostly mountainous and the land is mostly rock, which also makes the land in the Land of Thunder extremely barren and the crop yield is very low. Not only that, because the country of Thunder is full of mountains, the traffic is very inconvenient, and the ninjas and civilians in the country of Thunder are more violent, resulting in few businessmen willing to go to the country of Thunder for business, and the economic development is relatively slow. But seriously, Wen Izumi in the Kingdom of Thunder is very good. After the task is completed, let's take a dip in Wen Izumi. It would be even better if there is a mixed Wen Izumi pool, hook up a few girls, and at night. He. Yizan held his chin and took care of himself with silver laughing, making the 4 Anbu around him full of black lines. As Anbu's elite, several of them have strong self-discipline ability. The first thing that comes to mind when completing the task is to retreat. How could it be possible to go to the enemy country to warm up Izumi? 4 antiques who stayed in Anbu all the year round said that they didn't understand the thinking of young people at all. They looked at each other and cowardly counseled each other. Captain Zahn, if you want to go, you can go by yourself, your camouflage skills are the best in Konoha, the 4 of us will not participate, and the task is completed, we have to report to Lord Danzo to destroy Kumogakure village. The logistics supply point can cause a huge mental blow to the frontal battlefield. At that time, Mr. Danzo will definitely do something. If we delay the opportunity, it will be a crime of dereliction of duty. Anbu's words made sense. Yizan thought about it for a while and then gave up the plan. He didn't want to feel trapped in the enemy's country again. Although it was very exciting, he had to calculate all the time and lost the fun of soaking in Izumi. After entering the Kingdom of Thunder, Yizan and his group began to restrain their actions. Anbu's mission has always been quick and hidden, especially the mission of entering the hinterland of the war to burn food and grass, and he must be extremely careful. Once exposed in advance, the mission will fail, and maybe he will be surrounded by people sent from the battlefield ahead. At that time, no matter how strong a few people are, they will have to die in the endless pursuit. Slowly and secretly advanced in the Land of Thunder for 2 days, until the next night, Yizan and the 5 finally found the transit supply point provided by the spy. Here, it's here. Chapter 142 Anbu said, Plan. The Land of Thunder has many mountains, and Yizan's current location is at the foot of the mountains. The faces of the 5 people were a little dignified. They discovered that the transit supply point in Kumogakure village was actually a very strict military station. But yes, after all, this is the granary that provides the entire Kumogakure core. If there is no defense, once it is destroyed, the consequences will be disastrous. What we can see at the moment is only a trail. The trail is flat and without any obstructions, which provides a wide field of vision for the ninjas on the mountain and can prevent the enemy from attacking in time. If we rush hard with brute force, we will be almost instantly killed by hundreds of people on the mountain. Ninja instant kill. And Anbu analyzed. There are at least 24 elite Jonin on the mountain, and we must not attack directly. We can look at another way. With our strength, it is very simple to walk up the vertical cliff. I suggest to observe the structure of this mountain first, and see if there are any loopholes. The other person's suggestion was approved by everyone including Yizan, and then everyone left the foot of the mountain and observed around the mountain. After half a day, everyone gathered at the foot of the mountain again, and everyone's faces were not good looking. They found that the entire top of the mountain was monitored by Kumogakure ninjas 24 hours a day. Whether it was the only mountain trail with entrance and exit, or the cliffs in all directions of 890, they were blocked by Kumogakure ninjas. If you want to climb the mountain from the cliff, not only will you fail, but you will suffer a greater crisis. Think about it, if everyone stepped on a vertical cliff and rushed up, but halfway through the rush, the 100 ninjas on the top of the cliff threw detonating talismans and kunai at the same time. Chakra is attached. This mountain that is close to 1,000 meters, will not be shattered if you fall. Even if Yizan could fly, only Yizan could survive alone. Facing the attack of more than 20 elite Jonin and nearly 100 Sheng and Chunin, Yizan could only escape at most, but the mission would definitely fail. If the mission is bound to fail, it is better to give up the mission directly, at least quietly leave the country of thunder, and the safety is guaranteed. Of course, if they can complete the mission, these 4 Anbu would rather give their lives to complete it. Once the granary in Kumogakure village is destroyed, the entire front of the Kingdom of Thunder will be severely hit. With the command of Danzo, 2,000 people will be defeated. 3,000 people is not difficult. But now the most important thing is how to complete the task. 4 Anbu couldn't think of it, they could only look at Yi-zan eagerly, but they knew that the IQ of this Lord Zan, even the Kingdom of Water could collapse, and even the Kingdom of Wind was defeated, a mere granary, it should not be too difficult bar. Facing the gazes of the 4, Yi-zan scratched his forehead and reluctantly persuaded his shoulders. Although he made many earth-shattering strategies, in the face of this almost incomprehensible defense, there seemed to be no other way than a strong attack. However, Yi-zan would not smash his signboard. Seeing that the 4 Anbu were a little anxious, Yi-zan patted their shoulders with a confident expression on his face. Don't worry, everyone, I will not only successfully complete this mission, but I will also bring the 4 of you back intact. Brother Shinshuan, immortality, this is no joke. He held his chin high, and his arrogant attitude immediately aroused the confidence of the 4 Anbu. They looked at Yi-zan silently. This is an unconditional trust of all Anbu, in Yi-zan since the collapse of the country of water. Captain, do you have a solution? Haha, I knew that Lord Zan had a way. With the wisdom of Lord Zan, I could easily break through the granary. The 4 continued to flatter, making Yi-zan's face more and more arrogant, and then he shook his head proudly, and hopped away from the foot of the mountain. Let's go. Find a Wen Izumi hotel for a rest today, tomorrow. As expected of the captain, the plan will be implemented directly tomorrow. Master Zan is indeed Master Zan. Captain Zan is the pride of our Anbu. Wrong, Boss Zan is the pride of our Konoha. 4 of them flattered again, Yi-zan also nodded his head shamelessly. At this moment, he had no plans at all. In his little head, all he thought of was the cozy Wen Izumi and the barbecue next to Wen Izumi. The pretty girl of Izumi who wears very little, well, it's better to be mixed, hehehehe. Yi-zan wiped the corners of his mouth and dried the saliva from his mouth. The 4 Anbu behind him did not know at all that Lord Zan, whom they trusted unconditionally, had already left the task behind. The next afternoon, Yi-zan, who had been having a good night with strange beauties at Wen Izumi Hotel, walked out of the room with dark circles under his eyes. Outside, the 4 Anbu had been waiting impatiently for a long time. Happy expressions appeared on their faces. Master Zan. An Anbu came to Yi-zan and whispered. Due to the disguise, the 4 Anbu were already dressed as civilians of the Land of Thunder, and they didn't seem to have any flaws. Well, the murderous part of those girls last night was so big, they were white and tender, and they looked good, hee. I invited them to eat barbecue and drink again. It seems that they don't sleep until 6 a.m. Hey, yesterday I am a little dizzy after being drunk by these bad women. Yi-zan's words caused the 4 Anbu's faces to change slightly, and the Anbu beside him was even more shocked, and whispered in a suppressed voice, Master Zan. You are still young, how can you drink? If Master Danzo finds out, the 4 of us won't give it to you. Lord Danzo was killed, and, Lord Zan, can you plan in your current state? Yi-zan was taken aback by Anbu's words. It was the first time he drank alcohol in this world, which made him dizzy and unable to respond so far. What did you say? Plan. Seeing that Yi-zan was still dizzy, Anbu finally couldn't help it and raised his finger sharply. Boom. Oops. With a cry of pain, Yi-zan's dizzy brain finally woke up. He stared at Anbu with wide eyes and angrily staring at Anbu in front of him, bastard. What are you beating me for? Shish. Sir Zan, keep your voice down, you were still drunk just now, and your subordinates did this out of resignation. I hope Sir Zan forgives me. Also, the plan. Sir Zan, the plan you said yesterday. Plan. Oh, understood. Yi-zan nodded suddenly, yawned in the eyes of the 4 Anbu's trusting, and walked back to the room lazily. Sorry, I didn't think about a plan at all yesterday. I'd better wait for me to rest and think about this kind of thing. I went to bed. Chapter 143 Where is the breakthrough point? Destroying the Kumogakure village granary transit station is incompetent, only outwitted. There is a large amount of food and grass stored in the transfer station, but it is not absolutely invulnerable. Yizan found that every 2 weeks, the Kumogakure ninja on the front of the Kingdom of Thunder would send more than 200 ninjas with dozens of empty carriages into the transfer station, carrying after filling up with food, grass and military supplies. You go down the mountain through the only trail, which is a breakthrough. Master Zan, your plan is useless. I have noticed that when the 200 or more ninjas entered the transfer station, they queued up to be checked by the garrisoned ninjas, and several perceptual ninjas checked the chakra fluctuations of these people to prevent transformation technique disguise. You want to go in with this group of transport teams, it's impossible. I understand what you mean. Yizan nodded, agreeing with the other party's words. If you enter the transfer station through the concealment skills and camouflage skills taught by Anbu, you will be discovered by the Kumogakure ninja before you enter. Konoha has covert camouflage skills, but Kumogakure doesn't. It can be said that with all the skills a ninja knows, it is impossible to deceive the garrisoned ninja and enter the transfer station. But I don't need to be concealed. Believe it or not, I can go in directly with the convoy. Yizan's words made the 4 Anbu feel a little stupid. It was only then that they remembered Yizan's deeds of glory. Under the circumstance that he was trapped in the country of water and wanted by the whole country, it was surprising that no one could find him and enter such a transfer station. It should be simpler than the land of water, right? Thinking of this, the Anbu people suddenly became excited, but the next second, Yizan smiled wickedly, breaking their hearts. Don't think about it. Even if I teach you Dafa in disguise, it will be difficult for you to be as natural as I am. This time I will go in alone, and you should stay at the foot of the mountain. And GT, less than. Yizan's words made the 4 Anbu's faces shrug. They blinked and looked at Yizan pitifully, like 4 children who made mistakes. Tisk. The expression of a group of big men. Don't be cute. I stick to the decision just now. You stay at the foot of the mountain and answer me at any time. Oh yes. As if thinking of something, Yizan suddenly raised his voice and made the 4 Anbu eyes rekindle the ray of hope. I will tell my dad the truth about this mission. I will complete the mission alone. The 4 of you are just traveling around at public expense, and it has no effect. Do you understand? I understand. Yizan was the captain. He made the decision. The 4 Anbu could only execute it, and Yizan was so righteous, they couldn't refute it. 4 Anbu looked like they were unlovable, and they lost their luster after being hit by Yizan. They are thinking, how to face the ridicule of other Anbu comrades after returning. The 4 elite Jonin, who are useless during the mission, will definitely become everyone's laughingstock in the future, right? Definitely. Thinking of the dark life in the future, the faces of the 4 of them collapsed completely, and one of them muttered in a low voice. If I knew this would happen, I shouldn't have stayed in the room honestly last night, but played with those beautiful sisters. Playing is my privilege. Do you want to grab a girl with me? Yizan glanced at the other party lightly, and was so frightened that the other party closed his mouth. The other 3 Anbu gloated. At least at this moment, some people were worse than the 3 of them. Hey, a group of stupid mortals. In the end, only the great God can take action. For the next 2 weeks, Yizan disappeared, and not even the 4 Anbu knew his whereabouts. He only left a note in Wen Izumi's hotel saying, "Fire on the mountain, act by chance," and disappeared without a trace. Acting by chance. How do you act on a whim? 4 Anbu look at me, I look at you, and finally took out an expensive chakra trigger detonator from their arms at the same time, and invariably chose one of Yizan's favorite trap types. 4 Anbu started to block the enemy, and Yizan had already come to the territory of the Tang dynasty. Although Tangzhiguo is a small country, it also has normal economic development. Yizan hid in a restaurant on the avenue of a small town. After waiting for 8 days, he finally reached his goal. Boss, pour water and tea, and bring all the food. Okay, ninja masters are sitting here, is it the same as last time? Nonsense. The money is indispensable to you, hurry up, we still have to hurry. More than 200 ninjas came to the town with dozens of carriages. This town is the only way to the land of thunder. Yizan tracked the tracks of the wheels and inquired about the location of the Kumogakure convoy. Dozens of carriages stopped, and the Kumogakure ninjas entered the restaurant one after another, and Yizan, like a child from an ordinary family, boldly walked past the Kumogakure ninja and came to the carriage slowly. Hey, are you feeding the horse? Yizan blinked, and in front of him was a 10-year-old boy with a messy grassy head and a dirty face, feeding the horses one by one with horse feed. Hearing Yizan's voice, the boy patted the horse's neck, turned his head, and looked puzzled. Yes, I'm feeding the horse, may I ask you who is? It's nothing, I see how interesting it is that you feed the horses, can you teach me? Yizan grinned, his right hand hidden in his sleeve quietly formed a seal. Demonic illusion. Mind control. Yizan stared at the other party, and after a while, the little boy's eyes became dull, and after a while, his eyes were clear, as if he had missed any demonic illusion. Mind control is a very simple C-level demonic illusion. Demonic illusion that Yizan learned when Anbu was learning traps, password decryption, concealment and many other skills. The stronger one's own mental power, the better the effect of the spell, especially for civilians and other non-ninja units, and can even completely control the opponent's actions. Performing demonic illusion on the little boy, Yizan quietly left the carriage. He sat in a small tea house next to the transport team, ordered a ramen, and ate it happily like an ordinary child. And the little boy who feeds the horses is still feeding the horses, as if nothing has been discovered. Chapter 144-Infiltrate the transfer station. A few days later, the transport team from Kumogakure village left the country of soup, passed through the country of sound, and entered the country of thunder. For the past few days, Yizan has been hanging from the team far away. His hair is messy, his cheeks are dirty, except for the clothes, the rest is exactly the same as the boy feeding the horse. The transport team was getting closer and closer to the transfer station of the granary. Until the afternoon of the same day, it was only a few hours before the transfer station arrived. The little boy who was feeding the horse suddenly covered his stomach and had a painful expression on his face. What's wrong? Asked a nearby ninja. My stomach hurts, I can't take it anymore, I'm going to the toilet on the side of the road. The boy's eyes were half squinted because of the pain. If you look closely, you can see that the boy's pupils are dull and the expressions on his face are fake. However, the group of ninjas did not realize that the children who fed the horses were not ninjas, and they never let them take it to heart. The ninjas at the head waved their hands in disgust, and the carriage team didn't even stop. Hurry up and get back. After he finished speaking, the little boy thanked him and left the team with a few pieces of paper. Seeing that the team continued to move forward, he looked left and right, and walked straight towards Yizan's hidden grass. 10 minutes later, the little boy caught up with the convoy. Since the convoy was very close to the transfer station, the ninjas did not continue to rest, but prepared to enter the transfer station in one breath, waiting for the stationed ninjas to rest while loading supplies. Yizan followed behind a ninja, his dark eyes rolled straight, and his dirty face was exactly the same as that of the little boy. As a child, they look alike. Yizan and the boy are both thin faces, especially after the head shape is exactly the same, and the cheeks are blackened with charcoal gray. Except for the height, there is no difference between the two at all. The little boy controlled by Yizan took advantage of the stomachache to come to Yizan, and the two sides exchanged all attire, and in order to show the same height, Yizan put several layers of thick cloth in the little boy's shoes and put his own with a height of 2 centimeters, it looks almost the same. Yizan followed the convoy to the town near the transfer station, and even saw 4 Konoha Anbu in the town. He stuck out his tongue at Anbu mischievously, and his arrogant gaze suddenly made the 4 speechless. Is that kid the captain just now? It should be, except him, who is so boring to do this kind of action. And that look, that attitude, is exactly the same as Captain Zahn. In other words, Master Zahn successfully infiltrated. It seems like this, he relies entirely on makeup, not a transformation technique. It is impossible for the perception ninja at the transfer station to find the problem. In that case, let's prepare to. The four looked at each other and nodded respectfully at Yi Zhan, and after receiving the confirmation from the four, Yi Zhan was relieved. The transfer station was built on a mountain and was heavily defended. Facing the siege of 100 garrison ninjas and more than 200 transport ninjas, even if Yi Zhan had the futon wind style mode, it would be difficult for him to escape the pursuit. Although the futon wind style mode is fast, this is the land of thunder, and all the elites from Kumogakure village are stationed at the transfer station. Not only that, although the futon wind style mode has a strong ability to withstand pressure, it also has a limit. If hundreds of ninjutsu are thrown on Yi Zhan at the same time, the power of the explosion will even exceed that of the cage-level powerhouse several times. Yi Zhan is absolutely miserable. I couldn't even call it out, and I was directly beaten to ashes by ninjutsu. The team moved on for more than an hour, and it was not until 8 p.m. when it was dark that the team reached the foot of the mountain. Go up the mountain. The head ninja waved, and the entire team slowly entered the mountain trail. There were specially installed lights next to the trail, which illuminated the entire team very brightly. Check. The gate did not open, and the guarding ninja asked the convoy to park on the flat ground in front of the gate, as if they had long been used to it. The ninjas of the transport team did not complain, but accepted the inspection motionlessly. Soon, several perceptive ninjas began to perceive constantly, including Yi Zhan, who were swept by them several times. Okay, come in. The huge gate slowly opened, and the transport team continued to move forward. Yi Zhan followed the ninjas into the transfer station with a smile on the corner of his mouth. Finally got in. But the mission has not really succeeded. Thinking of this, Yi Zhan immediately calmed down and followed the ninjas to continue walking in the station. Brothers haven't eaten yet, right? Let's go to rest and have a hot meal. We will do the loading of supplies. Tomorrow morning, we have to trouble the brothers to continue working hard. The garrison ninja took the carriage and pulled it into the stable. The ninjas of the transport team also showed joy on their faces. They gathered around the bonfire with their shoulders on their backs. It was obvious that this evening was a bonfire barbecue dinner. Hey, kid, are you hungry too? Go eat first. Then feed the horses when you're full. A guard ninja patted Yi Zhan's shoulder, which seemed strange, and pinched Yi Zhan's shoulder muscle subconsciously. Hey, boy, when did you start training your muscles? I remember 2 weeks ago, you were still weak. The ninja's words made Yi Zhan's heart jump. He quickly looked around and found that all ninjas had left the stable except this ninja. And Yi Zhan's bizarre actions and the muscles that suddenly grew also made the ninja understand something. A strong fear suddenly appeared in his eyes, and he opened his mouth and was ready to shout. Boom! With a muffled sound, Yi Zhan's palm slammed into the neck of the ninja, who was just a chunin. With Yi Zhan's speed, the other party couldn't react at all. Yi Zhan didn't expect that things would be revealed so soon. He originally planned to wait until everyone fell asleep in the middle of the night, but he didn't expect that the 1.7 plan would be ruined because of this chunin. An adult man can't hide no matter how he hides. Even if he uses the transformation technique to become the chunin, the original little boy suddenly disappears and will attract everyone's attention. No way, just do it. Looking at the bonfire and the meat-eating ninjas in the distance, Yi Zhan knew that the time was urgent, turned around and left the stable, and began to check the location of the granary in the station. 10 minutes later, he hid in a granary and took out a storage tank from his arms. The object scroll, slapped with both hands, and more than a dozen small oil drums appeared in front of him. Although Kaden fire style can be used directly, but using oil can not only speed up the burning speed, but also not easy to put out the fire. At my speed, there is no problem in destroying these dozen granaries. Chapter 145_Talismans that can only be consumed by local tyrants. The station at the Kumogakure transfer station is heavily defended, mainly against the outside world. That is to say, at the gate, on the surrounding cliffs, and in all places that can climb the mountains, there are 24-hour strict surveillance, like a steel shell, which protects the station from leaking water. The transfer station is a temporary construction, generally located in the middle of Kumogakure village and the frontal battlefield. Calculated from the frontal battlefield, it is indeed deep in the hinterland, and it is impossible to have large-scale attack troops, while ordinary small teams will choose such a defense. Abandon the task. For example, Danzo, have you never thought about attacking the Kumogakure transit station during this period of time? Of course I did. More than 10 teams were also sent back and forth, but unfortunately, because the defense was too incomprehensible, it was almost impossible to break through. That's what Yizan wanted, found the blind spot of the horse-feeding boy, and easily sneaked into the transfer station. The outside world is tight, but the inside of the transfer station is relatively loose. The stationed ninjas and the transport ninjas are eating barbecue by the bonfire. Except for a few patrolling ninjas, the granary is not even cared for. Indeed, according to the Kumogakure ninjas' thinking, even the gate can't get in. Do I need to add a 05-layer shield inside? It is better to strengthen all the troops to the surrounding protection. As long as the first layer of defense is not broken, the granary is safe. Barrels of oil were poured into the granary. The distance between the dozen or so granaries was not too far. After each granary was filled with oil, Yizan suddenly jumped to the top of the granary building, hand sealed with both hands, and suddenly lifted the chakra. Kaiden, fire style. Impatience fireball. Near sea level Kaiden, fire style, can be easily used even if there is no fire attribute chakra. The power of the Function fireball technique is not strong, but after Yizan used the powerful mental power to divide the Function fireball technique into a dozen, the formidable power it is several times weaker. But, boom boom boom. The weak fireball hit the oil, and instantly ignited a huge fire. The fire surrounded more than a dozen granaries almost instantly. When Yizan mobilized chakra, the perceptual ninjas in the transfer station found Yizan, but the granary was in the middle of the transfer station, and the group of perceptive ninjas standing at the gate had no time to stop it. Fighting the fire. Fighting the fire. Don't let that person run away. Then a dozen granaries filled with grain ignited a huge fire. All the Kumogakure ninjas went crazy. They rushed towards the granary frantically. Yizan turned on the futon wind style mode and flew in midair. Goodbye Tilda. He greeted everyone proudly, and flew down the mountain with a whoosh. Seeing Yizan escape, the group of Kumogakure suddenly became entangled. To put out the fire, or to catch the enemy? What are you still thinking? Half of the people put out the fire, and half of the people went to catch the little thief. I must catch him. I will dismember him. The leader of the transfer station angrily ordered, and then, more than 100 ninjas rushed down the mountain road and pursued Yizan. Raiden Thunder style couldn't hit Yizan in the sky, but they also had another way. They held the kunai tightly. Raiden Thunder style blessed their arms, and with a hard throw, hundreds of kunai swept through the void. Accurately hit Yizan. A group of muscular Hercules elite Jonin and kunai mixed with thunder. In the face of hundreds of attacks, Yizan could only dodge half of them, and the other half hit the futon wind-style armor. Although the power was reduced due to the distance, it also caused the futon wind-style armor to dent continuously. Indeed, without the chakra armor, hundreds of Jonin would be a terrifying force, and even Senju Tobarama died under the siege of the Golden Horn Silver Horn and a group of Golden Horn troops. Ninjas usually don't bring too much kunai, and this group of Kumogakure ninjas are not stupid. They quickly picked up the stones on the ground, and after 1 second, the sky rained stones. The speed of flying is definitely not comparable to the speed of running on land. The land of thunder is full of stones, and this group of Kumogakure Jonin has been chasing Yizan and throwing them more and more vigorously. Originally, Yizan could fly thousands of meters high and walk away, but he is in a bad mood now, and it is not his style to be attacked and not fight back. Yi Xuanxu kept scanning the ground with his eyes, and after scanning for a long time, he finally found 4 Anbu hiding near the foot of the mountain. So that's the case, is there a trap there? Yizan immediately turned and moved towards Anbu's location. The Kumogakur Jonin didn't notice it either, they just chased Yizan frantically, vowing to catch Yizan. Look, that's Captain Zan. Although it was night, the blue light in the air was still very dazzling. The 4 Anbu quickly stuck their heads out from behind the boulder at the dodging point. After a while, hundreds of figures appeared in the distance. It took us 2 full weeks to set up the detonating talisman trap. All the more than 100 people, please stay here for me. Everyone prepare. Seeing that the Kumogakur ninja stepped on the trap and continued to rush forward, the 4 Anbu hand sealed at the same time, and 4 powerful chakras burst out instantly. At the moment when Anbu broke out chakra, the faces of the perceptive ninjas among the 100 Kumogakur ninjas changed dramatically, especially when they sensed the thriving power contained under their feet. These perceptive ninjas were suddenly terrified. Rewind. There's a detonating talisman trap under your feet. 440 detonation talismans, detonate. Boom boom boom. Thousands of chakra-activated detonating talismans set off unmatched power on the land of less than 200 square meters. At that moment, more than 80 Jonin were blown to pieces, 40 were seriously injured, and they were fortunate enough to charge too much. There are only a few ninjas who have not yet entered the trap area. The power of the chakra-triggered detonating charm is the same as that of the ordinary detonating charm, but the price of each one is 100 times that of the ordinary detonating charm. In wars, the economy is very important, and every penny has to be used in key positions, so the sales of this kind of detonator have been very low, except for the deep-pocketed Konoha. Yizan used this detonating talisman to blow up Kikyo City, and this time, the chakra-triggered detonating talisman showed its power again, directly blowing up more than 100 Kumogakur ninjas. In the entire ninja world, only we, Konoha, dare to spend like this. With thousands of trigger-type detonating talismans, we can buy hundreds of thousands of ordinary detonating talismans, but who told us Konoha to be rich? Yizan smirked, swooped down, and quickly killed the few Kumogakur ninjas who survived. Let's go together. No one is left. Chapter 146_he complained to Danzo. Okay, when you go back, I'll repay you. Don't cry and be sad, okay? On the way back from the Kingdom of Tang to the Kingdom of Fire, Yizan was helpless. What the hell are 4 big men crying and mournful? Even if they are cute, I don't like it. Yizan took out a water bag and took a sip. The hot pepper water made his brain numb and his body temperature rose, but he felt a hearty feeling. Master Zan, are you serious? Then, what kind of merit did Master Zan give us? An Anbu asked cautiously, this credit can't be too scumbag, or what's the difference between not reporting it? The dignified 4 elite Jonin, who have only a little credit for this mission, were not laughed at by other Anbu comrades. Oh, don't worry, I'll definitely give you a big credit. Well, I'll give you the detonating talisman you've worked so hard to bury for 2 weeks. How's it going? Not so much. The 4 of them grimaced again, their eyes blinked, and they looked extremely pitiful. And then add credit for killing 100 Jonin. Really at Omicron at asterisk. Of course it's true, the old man is innocent. Thank you, Captain. Oh. The 4 of them spoke in unison, their eyes glowing with joy. 4 killed 100 Jonins. This kind of military exploit is extremely rare in the history of Anbu. They began to fantasize about the praise and admiration they received after going back, and they might be able to soak up the few girls in Anbu. He. The 4 of them snickered, completely lacking the usual serious image, but Yizan just glanced at them lightly, and the fluttering voice entered the ears of the 4 of them again. I'm a fool when I talk about it. Do you understand, the old man? 9 of the sentences in the sentence are false. So it's okay to dream of reporting military exploits to you. Yizan's words suddenly stopped the snickering of the four, and they stared stupidly. It turned out that it was so simple to go from heaven to hell. Lord Captain. Ooh. The most handsome Yun-sama in all Konoha. Don't beg me any more. As I said just now, for you, 9 of my 10 sentences are false, and reporting your military exploits to you is the rest of the truth. O_O. From heaven to hell, and from hell to heaven, the 4 Anbu were almost driven mad by Yizan, but fortunately, Yizan finally agreed to report the merits of the war, and in the future, facing his colleagues, he finally didn't have to be the object of ridicule. Oh, I'm sorry, just now, the sentence, it's the rest of the truth, is false, so I won't report the merits to you. Everyone. The 4 who were amused by Yizan for a while to heaven and then to hell for a while finally returned to the Konoha front. The war between the two countries continued, but due to the disadvantage of numbers, the morale of Konoha's side was declining every day, and the defense strength was getting weaker and weaker. In the central camp of the Konoha Corps' temporary quarters, Danzo sat in it with a serious face. Anbu stood beside Yizan. Their hearts were racing, and their faces were nervous, for fear that Yizan's final promise to show merit would be false. Xiaozan, how has the mission been completed? Danzo said in a deep voice. Although he believed in his son's ability, so many teams had given up the mission before, and the chance of success in this mission was very small. If I dare to take it, I will naturally be able to complete the task, and this time, not only did the granary of the transfer station burn down, but there are additional harvests. Yizan laughed wickedly, and suddenly turned to look at the 4 Anbu, which suddenly made the 4 people's hearts jump, and their eyes became more and more nervous. Thanks to the help of the 4 Anbu elites, after burning down the granary, more than 100 Kumogakur Jonin were killed with a detonating charm. You can inform Anbu and show your merit. As soon as Yizan's voice fell, the 4 Anbu's eyes suddenly filled with gratitude and excitement. They looked at each other and saw the same emotion in each other's eyes. Danzo can fully understand how excited they are, whether it is a sneak attack or a conspiracy. Killing more than 100 Kumogakur Jonin is a huge credit, and it is not an exaggeration to inform Anbu. Very good. As expected of our Konoha's elite teacher, in addition to reporting the commendation, I will tell Sarutobi personally about this great credit, and Sarutobi will formulate detailed ninja tools and ninjutsu rewards for you. Burning down the transfer station, the Kumogakur frontal army will definitely suffer a serious blow. These days, scout ninjas will be sent to monitor the Kumogakur army 24 hours a day. Once any commotion or strange behavior is found, action must be taken immediately. As long as the message and action are perfectly coordinated, Kumogakur will surely be repelled. Thinking of this, a smile flashed across Danzo's mouth. He was about to give orders, but the next second, Yizan's voice interrupted him. Dad, tell you something. Huh, what's the matter? Facing Danzo's doubtful gaze, Yizan laughed wickedly, and he glanced wickedly at the 4 Anbu's beside him. At that moment, the 4 Anbu's hearts suddenly had a strong sense of badness. Dad, tell you, when I was at Wen Izumi Hotel in the Land of Thunder, these 4 took me to chat and play with Wen Izumi sisters. I was also drunk by those bad sisters, and I woke up after being drunk all day and night. Dad, didn't you say that underage drinking is not allowed? Yizan squinted his eyes cutely, and the 4 Anbu's faces were full of despair. They looked at Danzo's icy eyes and completely collapsed. Lord Danzo, it's not true. The captain lied to you. Master Danzo, please believe that we will never take Masters on to play with this. We are innocent. Lord Danzo. Xiaozan. Danzo raised his voice, gave Yizan a serious look, then waved his hand, his tone getting deeper and deeper. You go out first, the 4 of them and I still have something to talk about. You guys have a good talk, I'll go first. Tilda. Yizan smiled and compared his middle finger to the 4 of them, stomped, and left the tent humming a song. As for what will happen next, I don't care. Tilda. Chapter 147 Back to Ninja School. 2 days later, the news that the transit station was destroyed finally reached the front line of the war. This transfer station is the only transfer station in Kumogakure village. There is a large amount of food stored in it. After hearing it, there is no food to eat. The ninjas on the front line suddenly panicked, and there was some commotion. These disturbances were quickly suppressed, but because Danzo sent people to watch closely from the beginning, although they were suppressed quickly, they were discovered by the Konoha scouts and reported back. Danzo didn't hesitate, and immediately launched an all-out attack of 2,000 people, but without the supply of food and grass, the morale of the Kumogakure village plummeted. What if the Konoha Legion was defeated? The food and grass are gone, and before they can get supplies, they still have to return to the Land of Thunder. Losing their fighting spirit, the 3,000 ninjas in Kumogakure village were beaten by 2,000 Konoha troops and kept retreating. Finally, Danzo appeared on the battlefield and summoned the Dream Tapers to work together to wound the two-tailed Jinchuriki column force. Jinchuriki column force of the Two Tails, who had lost their fighting spirit, fled directly, and also drove the entire Kumogakure army to defeat. In this battle, Konoha directly beat Kumogakure out of the country of fire and chased into the country of soup, and then 2,000 Konoha ninjas withdrew from the country of soup, built a fort right on the border between the Land of Fire and the Land of Yuno to prevent the Kumogakure village from fighting back. Kumogakure lost the transfer station, and will not attack the country of fire again in a short time. With 2,000 people building a fort, Danzo's role is not that big. 543. He asked Yizan, Anbu, and a group of Jonin to take the wounded back to Konoha for treatment, while he led a group of elite Jonin into the vast forest of the Land of Fire and began to look for the Kumogakure ninjas who had penetrated deep into the hinterland, the dozen or so groups who attacked the Konoha transport force. Ninja Master Zan, you are too much. The Konoha ninja took the wounded and marched through the vast forest, with Yizan and 4 Anbu hanging in the distance to protect them as Anbu. How did I go too far? Yizan scratched his head blankly, his face blank. You're still pretending. It's not our business that you go to drink, but you told Mr. Danzo. You're still slandering us. Look at the wound on my face. One of the Anbu was so angry that he took off his mask, revealing his bruised nose and face. Yizan looked at it, and laughed loudly with a poochie laugh. Lord Zan, you can still laugh. It's all your fault. You still laugh at us. Danzo for no reason, and Yizan deliberately lied. Okay, I'm just joking. Why are you angry? Isn't it worth it to be beaten for 100 consecutive cuts? Yizan patted Anbu's shoulder and looked like, you earned it, making Kiba tickle a few people. They swore that they would never team up with Yizan to do missions again. This bastard is simply cheating his teammates. It's a pit. A group of Jonin returned to Konoha with a large number of wounded, which immediately caused an uproar. The civilians spontaneously gathered at the gate of Konoha to thank these heroes who fought for Konoha. However, because of the problem of the wounded, they did not stay at the gate for long, but rushed the wounded. Sent to Ninja Hospital. Wife, miss me. In the hospital, Tsunade's hands are flashing green as she treats a seriously wounded ninja and she's too busy. Little pervert, die. Didn't you see that I was busy? She glared at Yizan angrily. The green light on her hands slowly disappeared. Take over the treatment. After she finished speaking, she got up immediately, and then a young nurse came to the ninja and took over Tsunade's treatment. As the first medical ninja in Konoha, Tsunade is mainly responsible for treating dying and seriously injured ninjas. Treating seriously injured ninjas requires a lot of chakra and very good chakra manipulation skills. Rao is her quasi-cage level chakra, can't last half a day. Wife. Oops, little pervert, I'm really busy now, go home obediently. Isn't Kushina at home? And there's Makoto. You go to the two of them to play first, and I'll come to you when I'm done. After she finished speaking, regardless of Yizan's objection, she kissed Yizan directly on the face, which was regarded as a reward for Yizan. Then, she focused her attention on the other injured person, her palms emitting green light, a full-blown treatment begins. Seeing Tsunade's focused appearance, Yizan pouted and left the hospital after a while, looking up at the sky. It was only 3 p.m., and it was still too early for the ninja school to end. Hey. Yizan sighed lazily. It's not that the master is lonely, right? It's just that he seems to be still at the Jonin school of his age, right? A genius like himself who collapsed the country of water at such a young age, led the Konoha ninja to defeat the 2 countries of soil and wind, and exploded the granary of the country of thunder, and the whole ninja world is alone. Thinking of the ninja school, Yizan's eyes suddenly lit up, or ran to class by himself. Is the most boring guy in Konoha at this moment. As the second generation of Konoha's official, Yizan always does whatever he wants. Since he decided to go to the ninja school, he doesn't want to do it at all. Don't worry about anything and head straight for the ninja school. At this moment, in the ninja school, on the outdoor training ground, Teacher Duanmu is teaching the kunai throwing skills. Perhaps the war has begun. The teaching method of the ninja school has changed from half-day theory and half-day practice to 2 days of theory per week, and the other 3 days of full practice, which enhances the student's practical ability. Kunai throwing is mainly about the skill and accuracy of the wrist. The strength of the arm is not so important. Everyone remember it for me, if I find anyone who throws brute force with their arms, they will be severely punished. Let's start. After Teacher Duanmu finished speaking, everyone threw kuwu at the wooden man 10 meters away. Everyone was serious, which made Teacher Duanmu nodded with satisfaction. His satisfaction didn't last for a few seconds when a familiar voice suddenly came from a distance. This voice suddenly turned his face dark, and there was something wrong in his heart. Hello, Moses. Hello everyone. Hee, I'm back. Chapter 148 Bullying Girl in Class. Classmates, the next password analysis formula is y equals x squared plus bx plus circa. In the classroom, Mr. Duanmu wrote something on the blackboard from time to time, and the whole class listened carefully to the class. Stinky bastard, what are you doing? In the last row of the classroom, Kushina blocked Yizan's hand with a face full of Yuhi's face. She quietly glanced at the classmates and teachers in front of her, and after finding that no one was paying attention, she forcefully pulled Yizan's hand away. Out of the second grade is not too many. The 3 of Ino Shikacho are sitting in the first few rows, Namikaze Minato and Mawako are sitting in the third to last row, Makoto, Inazukapa and Kushina are sitting in the second to last row, and the last there has been no one in the row. But today, Yizan forced Kushina to sit in the last row. There were only the 2 of them. It was like the last row of a movie theater. At this time, Yizan listened to the class with a serious face, but under the desk, his hand was constantly touching on Kushina's leg, and the crisp and numb feeling made Kushina's face moist and uncomfortable. When Teacher Duanmu turned around to write on the blackboard, she opened Yizan's paw with force, but after only a few seconds, Yizan's hand touched her leg again, like a dog's skin plaster, and she couldn't shake it off. Stinky rascal, don't do this. Face of Yuhi's Kushina buried her head and her voice was as thin as a mosquito. If it wasn't for Yizan's good hearing, he really wouldn't be able to hear Kushina's voice. But that's fine too. Yizan finally lowered his head to listen to the lecture seriously, put most of his head in front of Kushina, and laughed wickedly, which made Kushina feel ashamed and angry. Hee, angry. He chuckled, whispering in a voice that only Kushina could hear, and while Kushina was not paying attention, he grabbed Kushina's hand and rubbed it lightly. Her tender little hands were extremely smooth. Stinky hooligan, you are so annoying. If I knew this earlier, I would have died on the battlefield. I really shouldn't be praying for you at home. She pouted angrily, but Yizan's eyes lit up. He lowered his head abruptly, buried his head on the table, grabbed Kushina's hand and bit it hard. Oops. A scream caught the attention of the whole class and Teacher Duanmu. Kushina pursed her lips, glared at Yizan fiercely, and quickly calmed down. Sorry, Teacher Duanmu, I was just bitten by a bug. Oh, bitten by a bug. Is it nothing? Teacher Duanmu asked. Kushina quickly shook his head. It's nothing, maybe a bed bug or a tick. I've pinched this nasty bug to death. While she was talking, the hand under the table grabbed the flesh around Yizan's waist and twisted it so hard that Yizan almost cried out in pain. Dead woman, you're crazy. You want to strangle me. Yizan bit Kiba and said in a low voice. He immediately pulled Kushina's hand away, sucked it, and kept rubbing the flesh around his waist. Humph! Who told you to bully me? Kushina withdrew her hand. There was a row of Yizan's Kiba seals on the back of her tender hand. Angry. Humph. I'm sorry, Tilda. I don't want to talk to you. Kushina turned his head angrily and decided not to pay attention to Yizan, and Yizan put his hand on Kushina's lap again, but this time, Kushina ignored it directly, didn't move, and was determined to ignore Yizan. Hey, really ignore me? Yizan rolled his eyes, smiled wickedly, his claws began to move from Kushina's legs, and then his fingers pulled open the corners of his clothes and burrowed in like a small snake. Yizan's hand entered Kushina's lower abdomen and walked up slowly. Just as he continued to laugh, Kushina suddenly grabbed his hand, pulled it out with force, lowered his head, and took a bite. Ah! With a loud cry, Yizan jumped up violently. He trembled and kept rubbing his hands, and the eyes of the whole class and teacher Duanmu focused on the last row again. Other students are not clear, friends are not clear. Shikaku and Namikaze Minato, who already knew that the two were flirting, sighed silently. Yamanaka Inoichi, still expressionless, quietly took out a piece of dog food from the desk cabinet and put it in his mouth. Yamanaka Inoichi, how many times have I said that snacks are not allowed in class? Look, even Akamichi Choza is not eaten. Why are you eating? Get out. Click. Dog food was chewed up. Yamanaka Inoichi glanced at teacher Duanmu expressionlessly, took out a bag of dog food from the desk cabinet, and left the classroom slowly. Solving Yamanaka Inoichi, Mr. Duanmu looked at Yizan again, but facing Yizan, he was still a little scared, just moved the corner of his mouth and his tone slowed down. Shimura-san, I hope your voice is quieter, so as not to interfere with everyone's class. Is it okay? He asked cautiously, and after receiving Yizan's nodding response, he nodded with satisfaction. Very good, then continue the class, the password root formula, yes. Yamanaka Inoichi, who was standing outside, everything was calm. Yizan sat down with a sad face. Kushina also bit out a row of Kiba marks on the back of his hand, and the bite was even harder. Woman, you are taking revenge. Humph, that's right, I'm just getting revenge on you. Kushina raised her chin proudly, like a proud white swan, and the cute appearance of Tsunere made Yizan unbearably reach out his hand, crossed Kushina's waist, and directly embraced him. Ah! Kushina was startled. She wanted to scream but forcibly suppressed her voice. Her little face was Yuhi again, and was hugged by Yizan. The most important thing was that she was still in class. Classmates took notes seriously. Teacher Duanmu wrote on the blackboard. Kushina's face was Yuhi, half lying on Yizan like a kitten, until teacher Duanmu was about to turn around. Yizan slowly let go of her. Stinky rascal, you are such a stinky rascal. She murmured softly, and immediately raised her hand when she noticed that teacher Duanmu had turned around and returned. Mr. Duanmu. Kushina-san, what's wrong? My stomach hurts and I want to go to the toilet. Okay, let's go. Teacher Duanmu. Shimura-san, what's wrong with you? I want to go to the toilet too. Chapter 149-What to Eat for Dinner. If Kushina was asked to comment on the worst man in the world, except Yizan, she really couldn't think of anyone else. Don't you have a stomachache? Go on, Tilda. Yizan smiled and stood beside the women's toilet. Kushina raised Yuhi's face, and pouted very angry. Stinky bastard. Thank you for the compliment, Tilda. Yizan was still smiling. At this moment, the students of the ninja school were all in class, and there was no one outside the toilet except Yizan and Kushina. You go, don't worry, I won't come in, I swear I will never enter the women's toilet. Yizan simply leaned against the wall with his arms folded, and yawned lazily. Seeing Yizan's performance, Kushina was suspicious. She glanced at Yizan silently, and asked cautiously, "Are you really not coming in?" "Really? You swear?" "I swear. If I go into the women's room, I'll be struck by lightning." Yizan raised his right hand and made a vow. His sincere eyes and vowed voice finally convinced Kushina. She breathed a sigh of relief and slowly walked into the women's toilet. "You're really not allowed to come in." "Really? Come in the puppy." Hearing Yizan's voice outside, Kushina finally let go of his vigilance, and after a while, there was a rustling sound of taking off his pants. Yizan's heart moved, and he tiptoed in. Confused face. Humph. Underscore. With an angry hum, Yizan was completely stunned. He never expected that after walking in, Kushina just stared at himself angrily. Bathroom. You bastard. Stupid bastard. I knew I couldn't trust you. Bastard bastard bastard. Kushina Jongkiba rushed over with claws, slammed on Yizan, opened his mouth, and bit on Yizan's shoulder. "Ah, it hurts, hurts, hurts. I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die." Yizan and Kushina didn't go back to the classroom until school ended at 5 p.m. Mr. Duanmu couldn't control it, he was too lazy to control it. After announcing that school was over, he left the classroom on his own. School is over, it's time to go home. The remaining few friends walked out of the school chatting and finally found the two on the lawn outside the school gate. "Brothers on. Kushina, what are you doing?" Makoto, who was talking, she carefully glanced at the lawn and found that Kushina pressed Yizan into the lawn, to be precise, not pressing, but straddled Yizan's belly and pressed Yizan's hand. The shape of the two is extremely indecent. Yizan's clothes are messy, as if torn apart. Kushina's cheeks are dizzy, and fragrant sweat drips from his forehead. "Sister, what are you doing?" Couldn't stand Kushina's behavior. She rushed over and pulled Kushina up. Kushina pouted and looked unhappy, and Yizan sighed regretfully. "Female hooligan, why don't you continue?" "Yo, hello everyone." He greeted him with a grin, as if he had only seen everyone now, and then, Makoto took the initiative to go over and straighten his clothes, smoothing out his messy collar. "Hey, it's still my Makoto, come on, dear Makoto, give me a kiss." Yizan held Makoto's face and kissed it, and suddenly Makoto's face turned Yuhi with shame. She lowered her head gluttonously, holding Yizan's hand, and dared not speak. From last Friday to Monday today, Tsunade has been busy treating the wounded, eating directly at the ninja hospital, and returning home late every night. Because of this, Yizan was so bored that he ran to the ninja school to attend class, and went to eat barbecue with his friends every night. "How do you eat today? Are you still going to eat barbecue?" Yizan held Makoto and yawned boredly, eating the same thing for several days in a row. His stomach was a little tired. "Of course I'm going to eat barbecue. This is the best barbecue in Konoha. You won't get tired of eating it." Choza shouted with saliva. His eyes had turned into 2 pieces of barbecue. "Ah, I'm so tired, why don't I change it today?" Tenten can't stand eating barbecue. Shikaku stretched, obviously tired. Not only Shikaku, but everyone present except Choza were tired of barbecue. They nodded at the same time, and then, everyone ignored Choza's tears and gathered around to discuss what to eat for the evening. "Minato, what do you want to eat?" "Ah, me, I don't know, I'm whatever, I'll eat whatever you want." Namikaze Minato smiled brightly. His natural dedication and not picky eaters made him look extra gentle. Minato's smile immediately infected Mawako. She glanced at Minato quietly, and said softly, "Me too, I will eat whatever you eat." "Aha, Mawako, why do you think the same way as Minato? Did you go along with him on purpose?" Yizan shouted, and immediately made Mawako and Minato embarrassed Yuhi, especially Mawako. She waved her hand in panic, and her tone was a little flustered. No. I'm different from my sister. My sister is picky eater, but I'm not picky eater. I really don't care what you eat. Mawako wanted to explain it clearly, but she forgot that Kushina was offended by her momentary panic. The little tigress put on her hips, and her tone suddenly became somewhat dissatisfied. Sister. What are you talking about? When did I become picky eaters? You've always been a picky eater, thinking back then. Began to criticize Kushina's previous black history of picky eating, and Kushina's face changed immediately, especially when she saw Yizan's wicked smile on the side. She slammed into Mawako's mouth and glared at Mawako fiercely. Sister, come on, I'm picky eaters, so stop talking. The two sisters still had a tacit understanding. After seeing Yizan's smile, Mawako immediately shut up. She knew that if they continued, the two happy friends would not know how much trouble they would get. After a lot of uproar, everyone at 3.5 found that they had forgotten the main topic, and soon, everyone finally began to seriously discuss the topic of what to eat for dinner. How about going for ramen? No, the ramen shop is too small to fit so many of us. Where's the barbecue? Choza, shut up. I'm just making a suggestion, please don't discriminate against me. Choza, shut up. Everyone kept discussing, but at this moment, Yizan stared at Kushina silently, his eyes rolled straight, as if thinking of something. A smile flickered on the corner of his mouth. I have a suggestion. Yizan interrupted everyone's discussion. He smiled wickedly, and the meaning in his smile made Kushina feel a little bad. Let's go to the river to grill fish. Chapter 150_Grocery Shopping. Shikaku, Inoichi, Choza, Xiaopao, the four of you go to the yakiniku shop to move the grill and borrow it in my name. Minato, you and Mawako go to my house to get the seasonings, oil, salt, chan, black pepper, etc. Don't miss them. As for us. Yizan glanced at Makoto and Kushina, laughed, and looked at the vegetable market in the center of Konoha. The three of us are going to buy some food, eat grilled fish and grill some green leafy vegetables, and set off immediately. After half an hour, we will meet in the middle of the river west of Konoha. After Yizan finished speaking, everyone was instantly divided into three teams. Ino Shikacho and Inazuka Claw headed towards the barbecue restaurant, and Namikaze Minato and Mawako headed towards Shimura's house. After everyone left, Yizan grabbed Kushina's hand, regardless of the opponent's struggle, holding Kushina in his left hand and Makoto in his right, and walked towards the vegetable market leisurely. Right before dinner, there were a lot of people in the vegetable market. These commoners were surprised, or shocked when they saw Yizan holding the two female children. They all showed strange attitudes. Children these days are really precocious, and they start playing with friends when they are only a few years old. Yeah, kids these days, they've all failed in their studies, and there's still a dragon and two phoenixes. Hey. You stinky men. Hey, how did you talk? What do you call us stinky men? I'm the only wife. Humph. That's because you're so ugly. A bunch of stinky men. The uncles and aunts in the vegetable market complained to each other, and they were all shocked by the appearance of Yizan. Of course they didn't know Yizan, but they felt that it was incredible to learn at such a young age. The three of them are ninjas, and it is easy to hear the whispers of these commoners. Yizan is thick-skinned. Not only is he not angry, but he raises his head proudly, but Kushina and Makoto are already too shy, and the two women try to break free from Yizan. Zan's hand, Kushina glared at Yizan. Hey, what are you staring at me for? Smelly woman, don't ruin my Makoto. Yizan grabbed Makoto, but he was freed again. Zan holds hands. Brother Zan, so many people, still, or. Makoto lowered his head, too shy to speak. Yizan turned over the Byakugan helplessly and walked forward alone. Okay, you two, follow me and don't get lost. Yizan gave up holding hands. Makoto patted his heart cutely and breathed a sigh of relief. She took the initiative to pull Kushina and followed Yizan obediently. The vegetables that can be used for barbecue, then buy some. Yizan's eyes lit up. He picked up the eggplant on the booth and asked, "How do you sell the eggplant?" 100 taels. Are you kidding me? 80 taels, I'll buy them. I want to buy others. After Yizan finished speaking, regardless of whether the stall owner agreed or not, he threw the mushrooms, leeks and potatoes into the basket. "Give them all to me. Cheaper, I can buy a lot." Yizan bargained like a housewife, and immediately stunned the two women behind him. They never imagined that the second-generation official of the famous Konoha would be so preoccupied with it. "You know shit. It's called life." As if seeing the eyes of the two women, Yizan turned around and gave each of the two women a shudder, causing the two women to scream and pout at the same time. Stinky bastard. Kushina is right, Brother Zan is a stinky rascal. 20 minutes later, Kushina and Makoto were carrying a few bags of vegetables. Makoto was fine, but Kushina's face was completely green. "Stinky rascal, you're going too far." Kushina really wanted to throw a bag of vegetables on Yizan, but these were all bought with money. She pursed her lips tightly, her eyes burning with flames. "What's the matter? How did I go too far? Don't look for trouble." Yizan raised his eyebrows with a smile, which made Kushina furious, but he couldn't say anything. "You did it on purpose. Leeks, celery, coriander, bitter gourd, onions, green peppers, these are the things I hate the most. You actually bought so many." Kushina almost collapsed. She saw that these dishes were disgusting, but Yizan also bought these on purpose. These dishes are exactly the black history of picky eating that Mawako had shaken out at the school gate before. Obviously, Yizan kept it in his heart, and bought these dishes in the form of self-service grilled fish by the river, which made Kushina's face green. "Kushina, it's not right for you to say that. The vegetables I buy are not exactly what you hate the most." "No, I also bought potato, dried tofu and eggplant. How can you say it on purpose? I didn't expect it. You hate eating so many dishes, you really are a picky eater tilde. You are the Shaogongju, your whole family is the Shaogongju." Kushina was very dissatisfied, while Yizan held his chin and thought for a long time, and finally lowered his head slightly, scratching his head a little shyly. "My dad Tsunere is indeed a small act. As for me, not so good. I'm not complimenting you, bastard." Anyway, the three finally came to the river. Kushina and Makoto were carrying large and small bags of vegetables. Yizan was empty-handed like a big man, especially Kushina. 710 pouted aggrievely along the way, like a bullied maid, looking extremely pitiful. "Yo, it's all here." When they got to the river, they found that Inoshika-cho was busy setting up the grill. Inuzuka claws were picking up the surrounding dry leaves and wood branches. Namikaze Minato was stepping on the river, and Mawako was standing silently on the bank. "Damn it, Minato." Yizan was shocked, and a 10th magnitude earthquake occurred in his heart. What did he see? He actually saw Namikaze Minato standing on the river. It's not about fishing, it's standing on the river. Don't forget, Namikaze Minato is only in the 2nd grade of ninja school. How can he tread water? Inoshika-cho is still young and doesn't understand that treading water requires strong chakra control skills, but Yizan knows that the entire Konoha, except himself, will tread water in the 2nd grade. I am afraid that only Minato is alone. Although Minato is still a little wobbly treading water, but at this age, he is considered a genius among geniuses. Yizan was surprised and walked towards Minato subconsciously. He stepped on the river smoothly, and Minato's eyes lit up immediately, and a touch of admiration rose in his heart. Brother Zan, as expected, you already knew this trick. Chapter 151 _ an unforgettable barbecue by the river. Idiot, it's not that I know this trick a long time ago, it's why you do it. Yizan slapped Minato hard, causing Minato to be unable to concentrate, and fell into the river with a pop. Minato-san. Everyone to look at the river, only to find that Namikaze Minato fell into the water for some reason, while Yizan stood on the river with his hands on his hips and laughed. Cough cough. Brother Zan. Namikaze Minato climbed up slightly embarrassed. His chakra was still unstable, and his body kept shaking with the water waves on the river. Go to the shore first, your level is still far behind. Yizan smirked, suddenly patted Minato's shoulder hard, and instantly slapped the other party into the water, thumping and choking several saliva. Brother Zan, how can you bully Minato like this? Seeing Namikaze Minato's embarrassed appearance, Mawako on the shore suddenly shouted, and her shouting not only did not stop Yizan, but made Yizan even more proud. Yo yo yo, Mawako will feel distressed. Big brother Zan. Alright, stop teasing you. Yizan pulled Namikaze Minato up and slowly let go until the other party reattached chakra to his feet. Go to the shore to rest and I'll teach you how to catch fish. Yizan kicked Namikaze Minato away, glanced at Kushina and Makoto deliberately, straightened his back, and shook his hair handsomely. HMPH, Sao Bao. Kushina curled his lips in disdain, but Makoto and the rest were full of anticipation. They all knew that Yizan had joined Anbu, but they never had a clear idea of what strength Yizan was and how strong it was. See clearly, I only have one seal. Yizan deliberately showed off, made a seal with one hand, and chakra quickly poured into the river. Sweden, water style. Great waterfall technique. Quote. Boom. There was a loud noise, and in the next instant, the sky darkened, and a huge wave broke out on the river. Not a giant wave. But the whole river flew up, flying more than 10 meters high, forming a terrifying torrent. What is this? Impossible. This is Big Brother Zan's strength. Kushina, who was full of disdain before, opened her mouth stupidly. It was only then that she realized that this stinky hooligan who had been laughing and laughing all the time had such terrifying strength. It's not over yet. Instantly cast a big waterfall technique. There was no pressure on Yizan. He suddenly put his hand on the torrent, a sharp and harsh seezy sound like thousands of birds chirping, and then, a huge waterfall dozens of meters long bloomed. The dazzling current, like a stream of electricity, exudes terrifying fluctuations. Puff puff. One by one fish was blown away by the current river water, jumped out of the river water and lay on the ground on both sides of the river. In just a few seconds, more than 30 fish jumped out of this huge electric river with a length of tens of meters. Because Yizan weakened the rate in thunder style, most of the fish were just stunned, and only a few were charred. Boom. There was another loud noise, the huge current waterfall dissipated, and the river in midair plunged into the dry riverbed again, shaking the earth for 100 meters. Okay, fishing is over. Yizan walked down from the river without Yuhi's face, looking at Kushina's stunned expression. He smirked, grabbed the other's face, put his head together, and kissed him fiercely. Nasty. Being forcibly kissed for 10 seconds, Kushina broke free from Yizan's embrace. She wiped her mouth vigorously, and spat, ba ba ba. Stinky bastard, you're so disgusting. Thank you for the compliment, I'm not that good Tilda. I'm not complimenting you. The two flirted with each other for a while, and finally all the little friends were relieved. Family children like Ino Shikacho and Inazukapa still knew a little bit, but Namikaze Minato was born as a commoner and was completely shocked by Yizan's performance. But after all, it is the future Yellow Flash, Namikaze Minato admired in shock, with strong emotions in his eyes. Big Brother Zan. Well, Minato, how's it going? Trust me, I will definitely become a strong man. When the time comes, please accept my challenge. Okay, just because of your attitude, I believe you. As for this challenge, even if you don't say it, I will keep it for you. Yizan laughed. He didn't forget the technique of Hiraishin, since the other party is not afraid of anything. Even the deterrent power of the face fruit should be able to resist, right? It's not that Yizan has never learned the art of Hiraishin. With his status in Konoha, he can see the art of sealing if he wants to. It's a pity that he has no talent in space. He can only wait for Namikaze Minato to learn it, even if it is white. You have ingots. Thinking of this, Yizan suddenly smiled. Seeing Yizan happy, Namikaze Minato also had a sunny smile on his face. All right, you two, don't mess around in front of us, okay? Go pick up the fish. Kushina's venomous rant immediately embarrassed Namikaze Minato, but Yuzan didn't care. He was thick-skinned, and turned a Byakugan directly at Kushina. Looking like a dragon, Kushina clenched his fists in anger. Humph! You rascal, one day, I will beat you up. Although Yuzan's strong fishing has imprinted a strong image on everyone's heart, it has not changed everyone's relationship. Minato and Mawako processed the fish by the river. The processed fish was brushed with oil, pierced with an iron skewer, and grilled on a fire. Shikaku was in charge of the master's heat. The rest cut the vegetables, and Yuzan was in charge of dressing the vegetables. He glanced at Kushina's back badly, and strung the green peppers and onions together. From fishing to actually eating, everyone was busy for an entire hour. The sun went down, and the sky gradually darkened. By the river, the wood was crackling, the flames were roaring, and the golden fish was constantly giving off the meaty aroma. The little friends gathered together to eat, chatting happily. Yuzan was dangling around with Kushina's most hated vegetarian dish. Kushina kept pouting in anger, and Yuzan would always take the opportunity to sneak up on her at this time and kiss her on the mouth where she just finished eating the grilled fish. The midsummer evening wind blows, mixed with the fragrance of soil and green grass. The river babbles and dances with the chirping of insects. Everything seemed warm and comfortable. For everyone, this was an unforgettable night. Chapter 152 I have fried chicken and wine, follow me. The leisurely days of Yuzan and his friends came to an end in just over a week. This time, it's not Yuzan's problem, it's the little friends who have to prepare for the exam. Yuzan and his group of people started school. The war happened. The war is completely different from the peacetime. The knowledge taught by the ninja school is several times more and it is several times more difficult. This is a reform that must be carried out to improve the survivability of ninjas on the battlefield. That is, in the second half of the first grade, Sarutobi spent 3 days to change and strengthen all the courses of the ninja school, and one of the strengthening points is the examination. There is a quiz every month, a big exam every semester, and an extra difficult exam every year. The monthly test is better. If the test is poor, you will receive extra tutoring and practice at most, but the semester test and the annual test are very important. If the comprehensive score of the second test is lower than the pass line, you will be repeated, that is, repeat. Friends, this exam is the last semester exam of the second grade. Due to Yuzan's encouragement, Namikaze Minato does not dare to relax and practice hard every day. His strength improves very quickly, and passing the exam is simple and easy, but the others. Cough cough. Lazy Nara Shikaku for a while, I know 097 dishes of Akimichi Choza in one day. Let's just talk about Kushina. The Uzumaki people are naturally good at sealing, but they are not very good at ninjutsu and taijutsu. It is not difficult to pass the exam, nor is it easy. Not to mention Mawako, as a Jinchuriki column force from Kyuubi, Nine Tails, her chakra is often influenced by Kyuubi, Nine Tails, and using the three-body technique is exhausting. Number 1. Makoto is not bad. The Uchiha bloodline gave her a natural ninjutsu talent, and her physical skills are also good, but this little girl is usually soft and weak, so she is not sure how well she can perform in actual combat. Yes, due to the war, from the second grade onwards, every exam is an actual battle. The monthly exam is a battle between students, the semester exam is against the teacher, and the annual exam is even more terrifying. Different grades will go to different Konoha Forest exam, while 6th graders must pass number 44 Death Forest to graduate. Everyone started cramming. Although Namikaze Minato was able to pass the test easily, he was still practicing hard. After all, his goal of catching up was Yuzan, and only by practicing hard would he have any hope of catching up. No one to play with, Yuzan was bored again. He ran to the hospital extremely bored. For nearly 2 weeks, Tsunade was busy in the hospital. Tsunade is treating a wounded man at Konoha Hospital. For nearly 2 weeks, except for eating and sleeping, she was busy in the hospital almost all the time. The war between Konoha and Kumogakure was more brutal than the other fronts. There was no strategy, and the battle was head-to-head. However, due to the disadvantage of the number of Konoha ninjas, they were beaten badly. Old mother. From a distance, a familiar voice entered Tsunade's ears. She sighed helplessly, and the next second, a bear hug came from behind her. Yo, little pervert, why are you free to come to me today? Kushina and Makoto who are not with you. The most seriously injured ninja was cured as early as 2 days ago, and now all the injured people are not crippled, but it is difficult to recover. She does not need to concentrate all her attention, so she casts Sage Art, Side Head and Yizan. To chat with. Humph. What? You are my wife. It's only right that I came to you. Yizan leaned over, kissed Tsunade on the cheek, and then lifted the paper box in his hand. Dang 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 dang. Look, what did I bring you? Yizan opened the carton, and immediately, the fragrant smell filled the entire treatment room. Tsunade swallowed subconsciously, and a brilliant light burst into his eyes. It's fried chicken. More than that, Tilda. Yizan smiled and put the carton aside, then took out a bottle from his arms, opened the cork, and the aroma of wine was overflowing. Shochu. Quote. Tsunade's eyes are straightened. She has been busy for nearly 2 weeks so that she eats 3 meals a day in the hospital. She eats ordinary meals. Although it tastes good, how can it compare to her favorite fried chicken and shochu? Tsunade was confused, the green light in his hand suddenly dimmed, and he was about to disappear. The injured Jonin let out a pitiful cry, pulling Tsunade's mind back. Dai Shaoshuan, I almost stopped the treatment, take the wine away. Tsunade's face turned Yuhi, and he smiled a little embarrassedly at the ninja, and then a green light bloomed in his hand, warming the whole room. The Jonin was treated, but it disturbed Yizan's interest. He immediately lowered his face, and looked at the Jonin silently with the look of a danzo. After a while, sweat overflowed from Jonin's forehead. Okay, Shaoshuan, don't bully others are the injured. Seeing Yizan's feigned malicious attitude, Tsunade shook his head helplessly, and was about to persuade, but Yizan held his chin up and lifted the bottle, his expression on his face as deep as Danzo's. From now on, close your eyes until the end of the treatment. If I find you open your eyes halfway through, I will pour wine on your wounds. Soon as Yizan's voice fell, the Jonin was shocked and immediately closed his eyes. Absolutely can't open it. No matter what sound you hear, you can't open your eyes, or you will die, definitely. He thought about it, a little scared in his heart. Yizan's notoriety is well known in the Konoha Jonin circle. No matter how arrogant he is, he will not dare to offend the evil star of the Shimura family. Seeing the other party obediently closing his eyes, Yizan nodded with satisfaction. The gloomy disguise disappeared instantly, and then looked at Tsunade with a wicked smile on his face. Little pervert. Tsunade spat lightly, with a bit of yuhi on her cheeks. Although this Jonin closed her eyes, she was still lying here. She wanted to refuse, but seeing Yizan shaking the soju again, she swallowed again. Snorted softly, becoming more and more shy in my heart. Treatment can't be interrupted, the rest. As you like. Don't mess around, little slut. Full of temptation made Yizan shudder. He immediately took a sip of wine, leaned in with his bulging cheeks, and blocked Tsunade's lips at once. Gollum. Chapter 153 Who was kidnapped? Hiccup. The wine is fragrant. Tsunade's pretty face Yuhi fainted, his eyes were hazy, his palm sage art flickered, but he insisted that it didn't dissipate. Baby, drink some more Tilda. Yizan smirked, took a sip of wine, puffed out Tsunade's lips, and slowly passed. Swallowed another gulp of wine, Tsunade's eyes became more and more hazy. She leaned lightly on Yizan's shoulder, her consciousness became blurred, and the green light in her hand finally disappeared. You two, come and take over. Yizan raised his chin towards the door, and the two ninja nurses who were peeking outside came in with the faces of Yuhi. Although they didn't know Yizan, since they could kiss and hug the great Tsunade, they must be the big ones in Konoha. Sir. The two nurses bowed to Yizan, then took over Tsunade's treatment and released sage art to heal the wounded. Yes, do it well Tilda, I'm optimistic about you. Yizan gave a few words of encouragement pretending to be a leader, then hugged Tsunade and left. At this moment, although Tsunade was still conscious, but his body had no strength, she opened her eyes hazy, and after seeing Yizan's wicked smile, she felt a little uncomfortable. Kindly turned his head away. Baby Tilda. Huh. Let's go home Tilda. Whatever you want. Wine surged up, Tsunade yawned lazily, and was taken home by Yizan in a daze. House was Tsunade's house. After entering the door, Yizan put Tsunade on the sofa. The woman was already numb from drinking. Yuhi's cheeks slammed into her mouth, and she raised her hand from time to time as if she wanted to drink. Idiot. Yizan shook his head amusingly. He felt that Tsunade was like a drunk kitten now, especially the gesture of raising his hand, which was lazy, slightly curved, and looked extremely cute. If I'm not here, and I'm so drunk, I might be bullied by bad people. Yizan pinched Tsunade's Chong nose, causing Tsunade to move around. She slapped Yizan's hand down, hugged him tightly, and didn't let go of anything. After a while, Tsunade yawned and fell asleep comfortably. Tsunade was so tired. He had been tired for 2 weeks. Even if his body could handle it, his spirit was exhausted to the limit. Taking advantage of the drinking, she temporarily put aside the hospital affairs, which is also considered a vacation for herself. Hey! This stupid woman! Looking at Tsunade's beautiful face, Yizan sighed softly. He wanted to pull his hand out of Tsunade's arms, but found that Tsunade was holding him tightly and couldn't move. In desperation, Yizan could only lie down on his side. Fortunately, the sofa was wide enough, and there was still a half-length space after the two of them lay down. What a hooligan, you still hold my hand when you fall asleep. Yizan muttered softly, his other hand passed through Tsunade's neck and wrapped his arms around Tsunade. Smelling Tsunade's body, he buried his face in Tsunade's smooth blonde hair and slowly closed his eyes. Go to sleep, I also sleep. When Yizan woke up again, it was already 3 o'clock in the night. He yawned lazily, smacked his mouth, and found that Tsunade's embrace had weakened, so he pulled out his hand. Ha! He spread out his hands, sighed towards his palm, and sniffed it in front of his nose. Well, it's slightly smelly, first brush Kiba and wash your face. Thinking of this, Yizan quietly got up, walked to the toilet lightly, turned on the faucet, and poured water for a full minute before he woke up from a stupefied state. By the way, this is the first time I woke up at 3 in the morning. Tsunade, who was still sleeping on the sofa, Yizan smiled and washed up comfortably. After washing his face and brushing Kiba, Yizan was completely full of energy. He walked slowly to the windowsill. The night wind blew, mixed with the fragrance of soil and grass. Yizan exhaled lightly, and looked at the star-studded night sky with deep eyes, as if he had become a literary youth. Call out. A soft sound, a black mass flashed across the faraway street. Yizan was stunned. Judging from the speed, it was at least an elite Jonin. I didn't expect people to go out of the village to carry out missions so late. Konoha's recent situation is really not optimistic. Sarutobi has been working overtime lately. Various things caused by the war have made him devastated. He often works overtime until 12 o'clock in the evening or even late at night, and then sits in the office on time at 7 o'clock the next morning, and he can't even sleep. Hokage is so bitter, only an idiot would be a Hokage. Thinking of this, Yizan suddenly felt that it would be a good choice for Danzo not to be Hokage. He was in charge of the root department and occasionally did something shady, at least not tired. Just when Yizan kept complaining about Hokage's hard work, something floated over from a distance, and by the faint moonlight, it seemed like a piece of yuhi-colored hair. Yuhi-colored hair. Yizan froze for a moment, but did not respond for a while. You must know that only the Uzumaki family in the whole ninja world has yuhi hair. How can a yuhi hair float here? Fuck, kidnapped. Yizan was shocked, and a huge wave broke out in his heart. There are only 2 Uzumaki people in the entire Konoha. This hair is either Kushina or Miwako's. Thinking of the black group that had just disappeared, Yizan's pupils shrank sharply, stepping on the window string with one foot, suddenly exerting force, like a blue wind, and disappeared in an instant. Damn it! How dare you kidnap someone in Konoha? It must be a bastard from Kumogakure village. In the original memory, isn't this special cat that happened when she graduated? Yizan didn't expect his butterfly effect to affect so much, but also, in the original book, the second generation of Mizukage and the second generation of Tsuchikage in the Second Ninja World War will perish together. As a result, because he collapsed the country of water, the second generation of Mizukage is still alive and well. The second generation Tsuchikage died on the ghoul seal. This kidnapping, without even thinking about it, must have been done by the Kumogakure ninja. In the original book, the Kumogakure ninja kidnapping incident happened more than once, and from the passing figure just now, the opponent is at least a physique-type elite jonin. Otherwise, in the case of kidnapping a person, it is impossible to have such a fast speed. No matter who you are, if you kidnap Miwako, I'll leave you with a corpse, and if you kidnap Kushina, don't blame me for being black. Chapter 154_Dull Manic Patient. Outside the village of Konoha, a cloth-covered man was rushing forward, with a yuhi-haired girl on his shoulders. Hey, uncle, you tied the wrong person. Kushina patted the other party's shoulder. Her chakra was imprisoned, maybe because of her young age. The other party did not restrict her body. Since leaving the village, the restraint on her throat has also been lifted, allowing her to speak. In fact, at first, Kushina was very scared, but when Jonin's escape route happened to pass by Tsunade's house, she gently threw a strand of hair towards Tsunade's house, and at that moment saw Yizan on the windowsill. My position should be in a dark corner. The stinky hooligan can't see it, but my hair should be able to float in front of the stinky hooligan, and he will definitely come to save me. Ever since she figured this out, Kushina has been active. She patted the Kumogakure ninja on the shoulder from time to time, looking a little lively. Uncle, why didn't you talk? Are you dumb? That's not right. Are you lost in love? Or you can't find a girlfriend at all? The type of girlfriend, quote. Kushina chuckled, making Kumogakure Jonin's head full of black lines, and he finally couldn't help but let out a low and gloomy voice. Little girl, do you know that I'm kidnapping you? I know, Tilda. Then shouldn't you be showing fear, depression and fear now? Why should I be afraid, depressed and fearful? Someone is here to save me, Tilda. Save you? Ha 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 ha. It turns out that you have such a plan. Little girl, don't be naive. 2 to 3 in the morning is the time of deep sleep for human beings. Why do you think I chose to kidnap you at this time? If it is true someone came to rescue you, Before he could finish his words, an extremely terrifying aura galloped from afar, and the blue light was extremely dazzling in the dark night, which shocked Jonin, followed by a burst of rage. Futon, wind style, chakra. Shimura Danzo's son. Granary burned down, the Kumogakure suffered a defeat, and the injuries of the 3 generations of Reikage were no longer a secret in the eyes of these elite Jonins, and Yizan's image was spread among the Jonin circles. Futon, wind style, chakra mode, less than 10 years old, can fly, Jonin strength, Danzo's genius son. Not only that, due to the alliance of the 3 kingdoms of wind, earth, and thunder, and the exchange of information, Yizan's situation gradually surfaced. Holding Onoki on the front of the land, Danzo's conspiracy succeeded, which indirectly led to the death of the second generation Tsuchikage. Leading the 70 elite Jonin on the front of the Land of Winds brought down an army of 1,500 sand ninjas, forcing 3 generations of Kazekage to retreat. A sneak attack on the granary transfer station on the front line of the Kingdom of Thunder caused the Kumogakure ninja army to be unstable. Later, 3 generations of Kazekage added in the information. This kid will not only know the Futon Wind style mode, but also the Raiden Thunder style mode of the 3 generations of Raikage. The paper couldn't contain the fire, and as soon as the news spread, the whole ninja world was boiling, and a child under 10 years old actually possessed such a strong strength. Fortunately, everyone did not know that Yizan was the planner of the collapse of the Water Kingdom, nor did they know that the plan to blow up the Kikyo city came from Yizan, or else a young genius who combined wisdom and strength, unless Yizan did not come out. Konoha, once you go out on a mission, you will have to face the endless sneak attacks from the whole ninja world. As for now, it's not like I haven't seen a genius before. Every village has a genius, but Yizan has the highest talent. But in their minds, Yizan has no bloodstains. Based on this, Yizan can never become a Senju Hashirama level character. In their minds, there is no future without bloodstains. No matter how high the talent is, Konoha is just a number of level powerhouses. The high-level officials of several countries figured this out, but the ordinary class did not understand. At least at this moment, the Kumogakure Jonin put down Kushina directly, and looked at Yizan with infinite killing intent. Cyan Futon Wind style less than 10 years old, it's really you. Shimura Danzo's son. Kumogakure Jonin's face was grim, and thunder flowed on him. Your detonator trap did a good job, chasing you at that time. More than 100 people were killed. You were really powerful. My eldest brother and second brother all died in your trap. He was trembling all over. It was not fear, but anger that made him unable to control his body. However, in the next second, Yizan scratched his head stupidly, blinked his eyes, and had a confused expression on his face. What did you say? What detonating talisman? I just burned your granary at the time. As for the detonating talisman trap, I didn't set it up at all. Huh. Kumogakure Jonin was stunned for a moment, his eyes were full of incredulity. The Kumogakure Jonin circle has spread, could it be? The information is wrong. It was originally, think about it yourself, I was chased by more than 100 of you at the time, and it was too late to escape. How could I set up a trap? Even if it was done by Konoha, you should go to Anbu for revenge. Why are you looking for me? Soder Siga, I should go to Anbu for revenge. Kumogakure Jonin slammed his hand as if he had come to a realization, with a look of gratitude on his face. Thank you, fortunately you reminded me, otherwise I would have taken my revenge by mistake. Quote. He didn't realize that, at this moment, Yizan was looking at him with pain on his face. Yizan couldn't understand why Kumogakure village would send such a person to carry out the kidnapping mission. Pucci. 4.2. A chuckle, he pulled the Kumogakure ninja back from his revenge. He turned his head to look, only to find that Yizan had already embraced Kushina in his arms, and Kushina was grinning with a bright smile. Stinky hooligan, you are so bad, how can you deceive this uncle like this? I found out along the way, this uncle is so dumb, he must be a fool who can't find a girlfriend. You still make fun of others, you really too bad, too bad, too bad. She lightly hammered Yizan, and the flirtatious look made Kumogakure Jonin's complexion change drastically, as if he was poking a sore spot. Show your love, you have to die. Chapter 155 What about the exam tomorrow? Call out. Fierce fists instantly hit Yizan, and the flashing electric arm even wiped the air out of Scorch. Yizan stepped back on tiptoe, he put his left hand around Kushina, and his right hand took out a chakra knife that had not been used for a long time. Since the Futon Wind style mode, I haven't had a real fight with real guns. Today, let's play. The violent whirlwind whistled, the chakra sword burst into dazzling light. Yizan rushed forward, without blessing the Futon Wind style mode, his speed dropped a lot. Call out. Kumogakure Jonin easily dodged the attack. You must know that he is an elite Jonin from Kumogakure village, or a physique-type Jonin, and his strength is stronger than Yizan. When Yizan does not use futon wind style mode, his speed much faster than Yizan. Show love, die fast. He roared like a mad wolf dog. The body cells activated by lightning gave him faster speed and stronger attacks, while Yizan not only slowed down because of his arms around Kushina, but also was not so flexible in dodging. Yizan's chakra knife couldn't hit the opponent, and the opponent's fist was narrowly avoided every time. Yizan pouted helplessly, with a hint of O5 depression on his face. The gap between Jonin and the elite Jonin is a bit big, and he can't beat him at all. Seeing the fist coming from the other side, Yizan blinked his eyes, spread out his hands, and gave up his resistance directly. Boom! With a loud bang, the thunder broke out violently. Kumogakure Jonin's fist was severely imprinted on Yizan's heart, and the cyan futon wind style was slightly dented, spinning rapidly, repairing it instantly. Hee, sorry, I'm going to cheat tilde. Opened the futon wind style armor, slaughtered the opponent in a few minutes. Looking at the corpse on the ground, he sighed pitifully. Leave a whole corpse for you, poor lunatic. After Yizan finished speaking, he walked towards Konoha with Kushina in his arms. When he reached the gate of Konoha, he burst into a chakra and led an Anbu over. Master Zan. Well, my woman has just been kidnapped. You find a few people to go to the northern forest 3 kilometers away to find the body. It's the Kumogakure ninja. I killed it. Let the members of the Yamanaka clan search his brain. How many parties are left? What to do? Don't I need to teach you? Understood. Lord Zan, please rest assured and complete the task. Anbu bowed and left. Kushina was ashamed of Yuhi, and seeing that there was no one around, she suddenly opened her mouth, revealing 2 little tigers, Kiba, and nibbled at Yizan's shoulder. Ah, Uzumaki Kushina, what are you doing? Are you a dog? A row of tooth marks sunk deep on his shoulders. Yizan cried out in pain, and threw Kushina directly to the ground. Stinky bastard, how dare you throw me away? Ass butt hit the ground. It hurt so much that Kushina sucked in the cold air. She quickly got up. Zhang Kiba danced at Yizan. Who is your woman? You are so bad. I'm not your woman. Don't even think about it. Kill you, kill you, kill you. Ah, you still bite the stinky woman. I saved you, you bite again. You have the guts to bite again. Ah, it's going to kill you. In the silent late night, the sound of a man and a woman chasing and fighting sounded from time to time, waking the sleeping civilians, especially some bachelors who had just finished masturbating and just fell asleep, even more angrily pushing the window and cursing late at night and flirting cursing men and women. In the end, Yizan forcibly took Kushina's hand and returned home. Since Danzo is still cleaning Kumogakure ninjas in the forest of the Land of Fire, there are only Mawako and Kushina at home. Kushina was kidnapped quietly. Mawako was still sleeping in his bedroom, and he didn't notice it at all. Don't tell Mawako, don't worry about your sister. Nonsense, even if you don't say it, I know it. Kushina flipped the Byakugan and stepped on Yizan's shoes. The next second, her body suddenly vacated, so frightened that she quickly hugged Yizan's neck. Bastard, what are you doing? She cursed in a low voice for fear of being overheard by Mawako. Guess what I'm going to do? Yizan grinned wickedly, reached out and pulled Kushina's shoes off. He also took off his shoes, hugged Kushina and walked towards the bedroom. Stinky hooligan, let me go. Kushina Yuhi slapped her face and was very nervous. Since she put her arms around Yizan's neck, she could only gently kick Yizan's belly with her white feet. But no matter what she did, Yizan would hold her without letting go. Crunch. The bedroom door was pushed open, and Yizan walked in with Kushina in his arms. He closed the door with his heels, then quickened his pace again, and walked to the edge of the shop with a few strides. Boom. A muffled sound. Kushina was slammed onto the bunk by Yizan, and the soft bunk bounced Kushina up and down, and it took 3 full bounces before it stopped. Bastard. Kushina was furious and was about to scold, but Yizan suddenly reached out and put his finger on her mouth. Shish. The mysterious meaning made Kushina stop. She blinked her eyes suspiciously, and a hint of curiosity appeared in her heart. "Stinky rascal, what's wrong?" she asked in a low voice, but did not notice the smirk at the corner of 900 Yizan's mouth. In the next second, Yizan suddenly held onto her shoulders and pressed her hard against the bed. "You." Seeing that Yizan was about to come up, Kushina's pretty face suddenly became Yuhi. He resisted Yizan hard, and turned his head shyly. "Stinky bastard, don't bully me, it's so late, let me sleep." "Tomorrow. There's an exam tomorrow." "Huh, is there an exam tomorrow?" "Of course, or I'll beat you to death tonight, even if I waste a whole night." Kushina waved her fist fiercely, as if she really wanted to hit Yizan, and then her face weakened and she yawned tiredly. After the kidnapping, Kushina was already very tired. After playing with Yizan for so long, she was so tired that she could barely open her eyes. "Well, since there is an exam tomorrow, I won't bully you, go to sleep." Yizan shook his head helplessly, opened the bed, and after Kushina got in, he closed the bed and kissed Kushina gently on the forehead. "Good night." Chapter 156_Ninja Kill. After the semester exams, the ninja school is closed. 2 months of vacation. However, because of the war, despite the holiday, the ninja school still arranged a lot of theoretical homework, and the practical training also required students not to slacken. "It's too much trouble to double your practice. Why did I happen to encounter a ninja war when I was in school?" In the green lawn, Nara Shikaku yawned lazily, and a group of people sat around on the lawn. It was October, the weather was getting cooler, and the afternoon sun was shining down, adding a sense of laziness. "So that's why you're lazy, Shikaku." Inuzuka glanced at Shikaku, then took a serious look at the cards in his hand, thought for a while, and drew the third card. "All arrows are fired. Flash. Flash. Little Claw, you are so nasty. Is there anyone escorting you?" "My lord, I will help you out." "Ha ha, Choza, so you are a loyal minister." The lively 8 people and Shikaku on the side are in stark contrast. Yes, because the holidays are too boring, Yizan finally invented a card game called Ninja Kill. The character in the ninja killing card is the famous ninja in the 5 countries today, and the ability of the card, Yizan completely copied the 3 kingdoms killing. With Yizan, there were 9 friends in total, and they were going to lose, but Shikaku was too lazy with the goods, so he simply chose to abstain, lying on the lawn next to everyone, basking in the sun and sleeping. But seriously, you still have to practice hard. The Ninja World War is no joke. In case it takes more than 10 years, all of you will have to go to the battlefield. I don't want to hear about any of you dying on the battlefield one day. News. Yizan said, but his eyes did not leave the card. He had more than a dozen cards in his hand. The general card was Shimura Danzo. He had no special ability. The only effect was that he could keep collecting cards without killing. Pretend to be a ninja repeating crossbow. Yizan said lightly, and suddenly drew out a card and played, Kill. Lord. Ah, you rascal, are you a rebel? Kushina next to Yizan suddenly wanted to cry. She was smoking the Lord. Since Yizan never killed himself, he always thought that Yizan was a loyal minister or a traitor. Escort. Sorry, Kushina, I didn't dodge. Choza reluctantly shrugged his shoulders, saying he could do nothing. What about another loyal minister? Hasn't jumped out yet. Idiot, who told you to choose Kazekage as the protagonist? Only Choza's card here is the ninja of the Land of Wind, and only he can help you escort. Yizan smirked, and Kushina pouted in anger. She glared at Yizan fiercely, holding the card to reduce a drop of blood. Ninja repeating crossbow effect, keep killing. Yizan mercilessly hit another shot, and Kushina snorted in anger, silently reducing a drop of blood. Also, kill. One more time, kill. Sorry, I still have, kill. Bastard rascal, you are targeting me. Peach. Kushina threw a card fiercely, thinking it could save her life, but Heap killing. Ooh. More than a dozen cards, 8 of which were kills. Kushina and her loyal ministers were powerless to revolving heaven, and were instantly wiped out by Yizan. Who is another loyal minister? Why don't you help me at all? Losing the card, Kushina immediately blamed the second loyal minister, but after waiting for a long time, everyone blinked and did not respond. Where's the second loyal minister? Kushina turned one by one and found that except for Choza, who was a loyal minister, and Mawako, who was a traitor, all the others were rebels. She was stunned for a moment, as if she understood something, and her eyes suddenly widened. Stinky rascal, take out your ID card. Hee. Yizan smirked, and proudly opened the ID card. As expected, the color of yellow and orange was indeed a loyal minister. You, bastard, I will bite you. A leisurely and pleasant life has passed for 2 months. The little friends started the second semester of the ninja school. After another month, Danzo came back with a group of elite jonin. In Hokage's office, Danzo, Sarutobi, Huang Gambling, and Yizan are all present. In the past few months, I killed 3 Kumogakure squadrons, 11 Kumogakure squads, 37 elite jonin, 80 jonin, and 160 chunin in the Forest of Fire Nation. We lost 8 elite jonin, 20 jonin. Thank you for your hard work. Sarutobi stood up and bowed to Danzo to show Danzo's contribution to Konoha. One more thing. Danzo's face was serious. He turned his head to look at Yizan, who was dangling stupidly, frowned, and his tone was very solemn. The 3rd generation of Raikage's injury is healed. What? No way. It's only been half a year, is that all right? This time, not only Sarutobi, but also Yizan, who was dangling, was stunned. He widened his eyes in disbelief, knowing that his original blow had smashed the flesh and blood in the body of the 3rd generation Raikage, and because it was close to the heart, the injury should be very serious. Don't underestimate Kumogakure Village. Kumogakure Village has been increasing military spending over the years, and it is normal for the village to increase its strength. Last week, Yamanaka Tenichi cracked the memory encryption of one of the Kumogakure ninjas. In order to treat the injury of the 3rd generation of Raikage, Kumogakure, the 30 most powerful medical ninjas in the village, are divided into 3 batches, 24 hours of continuous treatment for 3 generations of Raikage, using the technique of rejuvenation and regeneration. Using hair as a medium, and through extremely precise control of chakra, it is converted into protein to fill the wound. It is inferred from the memory obtained. The injury of the 3rd generation of Raikage will be healed in a few weeks. Quote. Danzo's words made everyone's heart tighten. They knew that the 3rd generation of Raikage was injured, and he would definitely go to the battlefield. He would also contact Wind and Turkey for a joint attack. It was completely different from the last time. This attack was a little negligent. Konoha will perish. It's a lot earlier than we expected. This is a big deal. Anbu, immediately call Elder Menyon and Elder Kaharu and tell them, it's an emergency, come to the office immediately. Chapter 157_Sadness. 3 generations of Raikage are healed. How is that possible? In Hokage's office, Kaharu Udatane frowned, bulging his eyes, as if saying, are you kidding me? Excluding all the impossible, the rest, even if it is impossible, is the truth. There is only one truth. So, you are the murderer. Yizan pointed at Kaharu Udatane carelessly, causing everyone present to be covered with black lines. Tsunade sighed helplessly, raised his finger, and gave him a terrifying chestnut. Oops. You knocked me again. I was fooled by you. They already been stupid. If I knock it a few more times, I might be able to knock it back. Tsunade flicked his fingers, so scared that Yizan immediately covered his forehead. He pouted aggrievedly, and muttered in a low voice, I'm also trying to liven up the atmosphere. Activate your sister. Kaharu Udatane turned over Byakugan and decided not to care about Yizan. Seeing that Kaharu Udatane didn't care, Yizan stood up again and raised his finger in a righteous manner. Elder Kaharu, you are the murderer. The boss of the black organization is you. You are the maker of APTX 4869, you are. Boom. With a loud noise, Yuzan's eyes rolled around 850 times. He staggered a few steps and threw himself into Tsunade's arms with a thud, but he didn't recover for a long time. Don't worry about him, let's get down to business. Tsunade shook his fist, with no expression on his face. The sudden burst of Queen's aura shocked everyone to not excuse Yuzan. They quickly turned their heads and started a long and serious discussion. After some time, when Yuzan woke up from the dizzy state, the two elders, Danzo, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya all left the office. Yuzan lay on his exclusive sofa, with Tsunade's legs on his back. Hey, why is there no one? Yuzan blinked his eyes and touched his head, only to realize that the bag that Tsunade had beaten just now disappeared. He glared at Tsunade, knowing that Tsunade used the healing technique to eliminate the evidence of the shot. Stinky woman, it's a waste of time for me to love you so much, but now you dare to knock me on the head, even if you knock it, you will destroy the evidence. Hee, little pervert, I just want to destroy the evidence. Without evidence, I won't admit that I just knocked you out. Tsunade raised his eyebrows proudly, and Yuzan pouted in anger. He sat up and sat on Tsunade's body, cupping Tsunade's face with both hands. Stinky woman, do you admit it? Hee, don't admit it. Can you say it again? No admitting. Humph. Yuzan was furious, put his head together, and pursed Tsunade's lips. He didn't let go of Tsunade until Tsunade made a woo-woo, begging for mercy. Wrong. That's wrong, slut. Sarutobi at the desk was so depressed that he kept smoking a cigarette, until the two separated. He knocked on the pipe, attracting Yuzan's attention. Shaozan, let me tell you about the... No need. Yuzan interrupted suddenly, and suddenly stuck Sarutobi's words in his throat. He looked at Yuzan stupidly, and Yuzan directly pulled Tsunade up. I went to have afternoon tea with Tsunade. What did you guys discuss? Just tell me Tsunade later, don't bother. Yuzan glanced at Sarutobi, dragged Tsunade out of the office, and left Sarutobi alone. He sighed tiredly with a wrinkled and bitter face. Compared with Sarutobi's story, Yuzan certainly preferred Tsunade. Anyway, it's just some pre-war arrangements. Even if the third-generation Reikage is restored, the food in Kumogakure village will need to be restocked. It takes a long time to find a suitable transfer station. This time, the transit station in Kumogakure village will definitely be more closely guarded, and it is almost impossible for the sneak attack to succeed. But these are things in the future. The sky is falling, and Sarutobi and Danzo are on top. At this moment, Yuzan and Tsunade are in the quietest tea restaurant in Konoha. Since most people are working in the afternoon, the tea restaurant is empty. Shaozan, Master Tsunade, good afternoon, is it still the same? Well, the old way. Yuzan and Tsunade are regulars here, and they often choose to come in the afternoon. After a few times, they become acquainted with the boss. The two still chose the most corner, the quietest place and the best atmosphere. The boss brought some glutinous rice balls, sake and fried tempura left, and Yuzan and Tsunade leaned together, chatting softly while eating delicious food. Sunlight sporadically fell on the sofa and the floor through the blinds, forming a diamond-shaped Madara, which sprinkled on Tsunade's white legs. Tapped Tsunade's legs with his fingers from time to time, tapped on the light Madara, and tapped it turned into rubbing, and the little paws went up and down, a little dishonest. Hate, don't move. Tsunade patted Yuzan lightly. Yuzan just responded with a smile, grabbed Tsunade's white jade finger, and bit it lightly in his mouth. Slobber. Slobber has anti-inflammatory and immune-boosting effects. Don't you know that if we kiss 5 times a day and exchange the immune system, we can live 100 years longer? Bah, who kisses you 5 times a day? Tsunade snorted lightly, picked up the sake and took a sip. The quiet tea restaurant made her feel relaxed, and she leaned on Yizan's shoulder lazily. Hey, little bastard. Huh. There's going to be a war. Quote. I know. The two were silent. They all knew that after the third generation of Hokage was injured, a full-scale war would definitely be provoked. This time it was not a matter of 1,000 or 2,000 people. Maybe 6 or 7,000 people would be dispatched from Kumogakure village at one time, plus in the land of wind and land, Konoha will be defeated if he is not careful. Why do people always want to start a war in this world? So many people are going to die. She shifted her head, fell down, and lay directly on Yizan's lap, her brows slightly wrinkled, but she never let go. Yizan smiled and gently rubbed Tsunade's eyebrows, as if trying to resolve the sadness between her brows. With me here, we Konoha will not lose. Sad. Leave my Tsunade baby quickly. Let her be happy, don't worry anymore Tilda. Yizan's voice contained a reassuring power. Gradually, Tsunade's brows loosened, and a touch of emotion and tenderness appeared on his face. Chapter 158 middle down. In a very hidden room in the Hokage building, Sarutobi, Danzo, and the two elders were sitting in 4 directions. Yizan swayed and stood behind Danzo, and then lay directly on the floor with a ba. Shaozan. You all sit and I stand, it's not fair. Yizan was lying on the floor. The floor of the room was very clean, and it was cold and very comfortable Tilda. Forget it, let's get down to business. Danzo cast a glance at Yizan, feeling increasingly helpless towards this son, but fortunately, Yizan's spirit has reached an unprecedented level in both wisdom and strength, otherwise he would have been so mischievous. Son is pissed. As soon as the business was mentioned, the atmosphere in the room suddenly became solemn. There was no solution discussed in the previous discussion in the office. After everyone went back to think for a few days, Sarutobi held this high-level secret meeting. The current situation is unknown, but with a cautious attitude, we have to plan for the worst. Suppose, Kumogakure village uses 3,000 ninjas to defend the village and 7,000 ninjas attack Konoha. How should we Konoha resist? Suppose Seian village and Iwagakure village each attacked Konoha with more than 5,000 ninjas, and formed a flanking attack with 7,000 ninjas from Kumogakure village. What should we do in Konoha? Homura Mitokado's words made everyone frown, and a fear of timidity rose in their hearts. The number of people who attacked the 3 villages alone exceeded the total number of Konoha ninjas. How to fight? Can I contact Xiaoguo? Sarutobi asked in a deep voice. Sarutobi, don't be naive. Who doesn't know the situation in our Konoha now? Would you like a small country to help us? It's not bad if you don't help the 3 big countries to fight us. Danzo snorted coldly, and immediately dismissed Sarutobi's idea of uniting with the small countries. Then what? Kaharu Udatane bit Kiba tightly, his eyes a little desperate. Is this the end of our Konoha? Kaharu, don't think like that. If even the 4 of us give up, Konoha is really hopeless. Cheer up. Yes, and the matter is not as serious as imagined. First of all, the 3 major countries are in our country of fire, and communication is extremely difficult. Except for the first agreed attack time, it is impossible to communicate in time. Not only that, although they have a total of 3 cage-level powerhouses, but we also have 3 on our side, Sarutobi, me, Hatake Sakumo, we defend 1 country each, and we won't necessarily lose. The 3 of them spoke at the same time, finally turning back Kaharu Udatane's despairing mood. She silently bowed to the 3 of them, her face very guilty. Sorry, my mind is too fragile. You are right, if the 4 of us or even if you give up, Konoha is really finished. Xiaoshuan, do you have any ideas? She looked at Yizan, and the other 3 also looked over. At this moment, Yizan was lying on the ground and rolling from wall to wall, looking extremely leisurely. Yizan was taken aback by Kaharu Udatane's question. He forgot to control his body, and then... boom! With a loud bang, Yizan slammed his entire face against the wall. He covered his face in pain, bowed his body, and his body trembled. Quote. The four of them looked at Yizan with black lines all over their heads, and Danzo even twitched the corners of his mouth, almost unable to control the urge to beat someone. Elder Kaharu, it's all your fault. Yuhi's nose, with 2 balls of tissue paper stuffed in his nostrils, Yizan stared angrily, looking very aggrieved. Okay, it's all my fault. When the meeting is over, I'll buy you candy, darling Tilda. Kaharu Udatane patted Yizan's head, causing Yizan to keep turning over Byakugan. He pushed Kaharu Udatane's hand away and said angrily, Bastard. You treat me as a child. So coaxing. No, Xiaoshuan, I have never treated you as an 8-year-old child. You are so smart and powerful, I have always treated you as a 5-year-old child Tilda. Yizan pointed at Kaharu Udatane and kept pouting, and finally he snorted lightly and turned his head away in disgust. The atmosphere in the room became more relaxed and lively because of Yizan's commotion. As if the dark clouds of war were dissipated, Sarutobi smiled like a fox and looked at Yizan with a sly look. Xiaozan, look at your picture. Attitude, seems to have some plans, or, let's hear it. Sarutobi was the smartest, and he revealed Yizan's attitude in one sentence. His words surprised the other 3, wondering how Sarutobi knew that Yizan had plans. Hey, although Xiaoshuan is usually carefree, he never messes around with Konoha's big issues. Since Xiaoshuan doesn't care, does it mean that he has some plans in his heart? Well, dead monkey, if only you could use this cleverness in warfare. Yizan turned over Byakugan, and admitted Sarutobi's guess. He paused for a while, and then said slowly, I don't have a way to relieve Konoha's safety for the time being, but it can greatly reduce the possibility of a fiasco on the 3 fronts. I'm not a god and can't increase the number of Konoha ninjas, but if it's a cage-level powerhouse's victory or defeat, I can change it. Oh. Yizan's words shocked the 4 of them. You must know that because cage-level powerhouses are too powerful, it is difficult for them to lose because of conspiracies. The solution is very simple. The 3 of you have to change the defensive direction. My dad will deal with the 3 generations of Reikage, Dead Monkey will deal with Onoki, and Hataki Sakumo will deal with Cage. Ah, Xiaoshuan, that's not right. If Danzo dealt with the 3 generations of Reikage, wouldn't he be directly? Sarutobi was hard to say, but everyone in the room understood that Danzo's strength was the weakest in the Konoha cage level, so wouldn't he just be blown away when he fought against the strongest shadow of the 3 major countries? So you are all idiots and don't know how to work around. What if my dad is beaten by 3 generations of Reikage? If I compare the 3 of you to upper, middle, and lower, and the 3 kingdoms cage level is upper, middle, and lower, down, means up to middle, middle to down, and then my dad's down, to deal with the strongest up, lose 1, win 2, get it? Chapter 159 _go go 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 go. Sarutobi is strong, no doubt about that. Especially the Sarutobi of this era, the spirit and strength have reached the peak, and the psychic beasts and demons with cage-level strength can definitely defeat Onoki. As for Hataki Sakumo, you don't have to think about defeating the 3 generations of Cage. You must know that in the original book, Hataki Sakumo was responsible for the front of the country of the wind. Hataki's swordsmanship killed the quartet, and even killed Chiyo's son and daughter-in-law. Hataki Sakumo's features are speed and one-hit kill, similar to the 3rd generation Reikage, but not as strong as the 3rd generation Reikage. But if you put it on the front of the country of wind, speed and one-shot kill happen to be the nemesis of the puppet master, especially the Hataki swordsmanship, which is practiced to the limit, is not as strong as the Raiden Thunder-style armor of the 3rd generation Reikage, whoever touches will die. Yizan's horse racing method was instantly agreed by the 4. They even thought, what kind of genius can he think of such a powerful method? Therefore, the transmigrators or something, easily crush the natives. Yizan shook his head proudly and shook his legs, like a little hooligan, how arrogant he looked, but in the eyes of the four, Yizan became more and more cute, especially Danzo, who held his chin proudly. Such a proud son. The high-end combat power has been solved. Let's talk about the mid and low-end combat power. At this level, we don't have to stick to the rule that ninjas above Chunin must be dispatched in war. I suggest that Genin join the war. No. Danzo's opinion was opposed by 3 people at the same time, especially Sarutobi, who opposed it most violently. Every village's upper and Chunin were raised by Genin. If Genin is sent to fight, what will Konoha do in the future? Sarutobi, you are pedantic. If you lose the war, it will directly result in the destruction of the village and the country. Do you still think about the future? No, Genin must not be sent out. Yes, if Konoha loses, the village will be wiped out, but what's the point of Genin participating in the war? Any Chunin can kill 10 Genin, even if all of our Konoha Genin are sent. The battlefield doesn't work either. This method doesn't work. Sarutobi's words made Danzo unable to refute for a while, and the atmosphere in the room suddenly became solemn, and the two stared at each other, dissatisfied with each other. Sarutobi and Danzo resisted, but Yizan didn't care. He was lying on the floor without any heart and rolling around, making the floor gurgle. This sound made Sarutobi and Danzo's faces even more ugly, and blue veins gradually appeared on their foreheads. Gollum gollum, roll and roll, roll and roll. Shaozan. Boom. Boom. A minute later, Yizan sat obediently beside Danzo. He pouted unhappily, with 2 small yuhi bags on his forehead. The battlefield is the best place to train people. Sending 1/3 of the Genin to the battlefield may result in a lot of deaths, but this is also the way to make them become Chunin quickly. If a few of the Jonin can become quasi-shadow powerhouses, it would be a lot easier for us at Konoha. Quote. Danzo's suggestion was finally agreed by Sarutobi. He is kind by nature, but it doesn't mean he has no blood. Danzo is right, the battlefield will indeed accelerate the strength of ninjas. 3,000 people defend the country of wind, 3,000 defend the country of thunder, and 3,000 defend the country of earth. At that time, I will divide Tsunade, Jiraiya and Orochimaru into 3 battlefields. Their war psychic beasts will give the battlefield brings some advantages. Quote. Sarutobi knocked on the table, his face was a little serious. The disadvantage of the number of people is too serious, especially Danzo's side. If he is unlucky, maybe he has to defend 6 or 7,000 people, and he has to face the 3rd generation of Raikage and the 2-tailed Jinchuriki. The column force can only delay as much as possible, maybe even without the strength to delay, it will be directly blown up by Kumogakure village. The front of the country of thunder must be strengthened. Danzo also knocked on the table. Although he is cage level, a 2-tailed man Jinchuriki column power with the power of a tailed beast can entangle him. If there is another 3-generation Raikage. No confidence. But thinking of the Jinchuriki column power of the 2-tailed man, Danzo suddenly thought of another person. He turned his eyes to Yizan, and asked seriously, how about the Jinchuriki column power of the Kyubi, 9-tails man? Uzumaki Mawako. Yizan frowned and said after thinking, no, she can't control the power of Kyubi, 9-tails, at least until Chunin or even Jonin can enter the battlefield. Is it absolutely impossible? Not necessarily, Sarutobi suddenly answered, with his hands folded on the table. His tone was hesitant. Uzumaki Mawako is young and will not be strong enough to master Kyubi, 9-tails power. If you keep sealing Kyubi, 9-tails, and can't use its power, but there is one person who might be able to solve this problem. Who? Uzumaki Ryayama. Uzumaki Ryushin, Junkage, the head of the Uzumaki clan. Contemporary terms, Uzumaki Ryayama must be the person who understands sealing the most. Since Sarutobi proposed Uzumaki Ryushin, Danzo directly proposed the possibility of letting the Uzumaki clan participate in the war. After a few people combined, Sarutobi immediately used the fastest communication ninja to bring the information to the country of Vortex. Uzumaki Ryushin, who has ambitions and ideas, has given him a lot of benefits. Even if the whole family is not involved in the war, he will bring some Jonin to help Konoha. He cooperates well with Kyuubi, Ninetales, Jinchuriki column, and he should be able to play a strong fighting force. It's not urgent for the time being. Even if Uzumaki Ryushin wants to come to Konoha, it will take a week. Shaoshuan, Kyuubi, Ninetales, person Jinchuriki column force, you are the most familiar, so I will arrange you 4.8 to the Land of Thunder. Front, Danzo, can you? The front line of the Kingdom of Thunder is the most dangerous. If there is an accident, even I may not be able to escape. In my heart, I certainly don't want Shaoshuan to take risks, but it all depends on him. Danzo looked at Yizan. Yizan turned the Byakugan and nodded in agreement. You don't want me to take risks, I'm still worried about you. The third generation Raikage is the top martial arts master in the ninja world. Back then, dozens of elite Jonin and Hitaki Sakumo were beaten into dogs by the third generation Raikage. I didn't hit you, but you. Hey, you should be careful anyway, don't ask me to save you when the time comes. Chapter 160_engagement. Week later, Uzumaki Ryayama came to Konoha with a few Jonins. After some interest negotiation, Uzumaki Ryayama agreed to lead the whole clan of ninjas to help Konoha, but among them, there was a special request. What? Want me and Kushina to kiss the doll? At the dinner table at Shimura's house, Yizan opened his mouth in astonishment, and Danzo's face was also very strange. I don't know why he cares about you so much. He took his daughter in, and he also said that he won't help Konoha if he doesn't get married. Danzo doesn't know the reason, but Yizan does. When he was in the country of Vortex, in order to breathe a sigh of relief, he revealed that he was the planner of the collapse plan of the country of water. In fact, at that time, Yizan saw the clue. Even if he saved the other party's son, he would not send the ghoul to seal this forbidden technique. This is a kind of gesture and an investment. And Yizan's performance over the past year has been as outstanding as a monster. Uzumaki Luo 5 Mountain is also a very thoughtful person. He bet on Yizan and firmly believes that Yizan is the next generation leader of Konoha. Hey, Uzumaki Ryayama has some courage. He won't help Konoha if he doesn't get married. In other words, getting married with me is more important than the whole Konoha. Is that what you mean? That's what it means. What do you think? I don't care, let's settle it. It's like Kushina can escape my clutches. But I think Kushina is about to explode now, right? Ha 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 ha. Yizan laughed. He had been with Kushina for so long. Of course he knew the character of this little tigress. If he heard that the two were engaged. Father, I will never be engaged to that stinky hooligan. Just like Yizan's guess, at this moment, in a restaurant in Konoha village, Kushina almost overturned the table. Originally, Uzumaki Ryushin came to Konoha to see her and her sister. She was still very happy. The family came out for dinner, but now, Uzumaki Ryushin actually wants to marry that stinky rascal to marry the doll. Absolutely not. Kushina's big eyes were full of dissatisfaction, while Uzumaki Ryushin just smiled, his eyes deep and steady. Kushina, I don't know the relationship between you and that kid yet. As your sister said, you are a pair of happy friends. Sooner or later, we will be together one day. What's wrong with getting married sooner? No. What a happy enemy. I hate him to death. Kushina pouted angrily and kept shaking his head. I won't do it. Anyway, I won't marry that stinky rascal. Kushina was reluctant to live or die, which suddenly made Uzumaki Ryushin a headache. The Great Ninja World War, the Uzumaki clan are weak. If they don't have a stable backer, they may be destroyed one day. For example, if they fell into the trap of the kidnappers in Kumogakure village, they would definitely be killed by the 5 elite Jonin. When he was killed, the country of the vortex would not even have a quasi-shadow, and it would be strange if it was not destroyed. Desperation, Uzumaki Ryushin told the 2 daughters about the crisis of the Uzumaki clan. Mawako nodded understandingly, but Kushina not only did not understand, but said carelessly, since there is a crisis, it is better for the whole clan to move into Konoha to live. You see, Uchiha Hyuga, Nara Akamichi, these families, don't they all live in Konoha? Fart. Let's move into Konoha. What about the country of Vortex? Although I, Uzumaki Ryushin, are not a big man, I won't allow the kingdom of Vortex to perish in my hands, absolutely not. The father and daughter slapped the table like this, and Mawako was neither on the left nor on the right, so they could only be anxious. After an unknown amount of time, Uzumaki Ryushin's momentum finally softened, he sighed softly, turned around and left the restaurant. Kushina, think about it for yourself, I've been in Konoha all this time, if you think about it someday, let me know. Uzumaki Ryushin and Kushina had a big fight. Although Kushina refused the engagement, the one who should help Konoha still has to help. If you want Mawako to enter the battlefield, you have to improve the seal of the 4 elephants. The next few days, he took Mawako to the Anbu base, devoted himself to improving the seal of the 4 elephants, and by the way asked Hatake Sakumo to teach Mawako and improve Mawako's strength. After Hatake Sakumo was healed, his combat power finally ranked 2nd in Konoha and pushed Danzo to 3rd. Danzo expressed his sadness about this, and Yizan's words hit him even more. 3rd place. You can keep 3rd place for 10 years at most. In the future, Tsunade, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, who is not better than you? And me, and Namikaze Minato, who I have always been optimistic about, who is not better than you? Quote. Danzo glanced at Yizan blankly, feeling aggrieved, but didn't say it. Since Uzumaki Ryushin took Mawako to the Anbu base, these days, apart from Yizan and Danzo, only Kushina is left in the Shimura family. Kushina has been very silent these past few days, and she didn't quarrel with Yizan during meals, completely losing her former true colors. After having dinner in a strange and quiet atmosphere, Danzo hurriedly left the house and went to the Hokage building, leaving only Yizan and Kushina at home. Hey, Kushina, go wash the dishes. Seeing that Kushina was still silent, Yizan half lied on the chair like a big man, raised his chin, and motioned for Kushina to wash the dishes. However, Kushina didn't say anything, she just glanced at Yizan, got up, and went back to the bedroom with a dada. Boom. With a loud bang, the bedroom door closed. Yizan scratched his head with some kiba pain, and then quietly walked to the door of Kushina's bedroom. Dong dong dong. Dong 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 dong. Kushina. Listening carefully, there was no movement in the bedroom. Yizan felt strange, put his right hand on the doorknob, and gently twisted it open. I'll come in without a word. He gently opened the door and stepped in with half a foot, only to find that there was no one in the bedroom. Huh, what about people? Yizan was puzzled, the next second. Boom. Oops. Yizan screamed, his right foot was severely pressed, stopped by the door, and it was not until then that he realized that Kushina had been hiding behind the door, apparently waiting for this moment for a long time. Kushina, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm going to kill you. You stinky bastard. Big rascal. Kill you, kill you, kill you.